someone you know who will always be there. Tune in, turn on, Talknet. We care.
Hello there, how are you? I'm delighted you're here. I'm Bruce Williams. Welcome. Welcome to my world. Welcome to Talknet. Talknet is the nation's, the continent's backyard. That's true, because anywhere in North America, you can call me simply by dialing 800-TALKNET. 800, the digits if you choose, 825-5638. What do? We talk about you. Yeah, the things you're into, the things you've done well, things you're stumbling on, and maybe, just maybe, smooth out a rough edge or two. Let's get it on. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Before we pick up this telephone, I would like to reach one or two of you directly. If you've gone to a timeshare pitch and they promised you a diamond ring and you got the thing, but you have to have eyes like an eagle to see the thing, or perhaps a solid gold bar, or maybe you sent some money in and you got yourself one of these great boats they were going to give you when you bought the pens or the vitamins, and you find out it's a little rubber dinghy. In short, if you've been sucked into one of those things and you're willing to talk about it, I'd appreciate if you drop me a postcard, and maybe we'll put you on TV. I think we'll do a little television about this very topic, and we'd like to talk to. Look, we're not going to embarrass you or anything of that kind, but just talk, because I think it's funny. Frankly, I've been stuck, and if maybe you got the big thing, you get a giant screen television, and it's a couple of mirrors, or the hot tub, and it's a little kiddie tub with a little dinky motor on it. Well, if any of these things or others that I don't even know about fit you and you're willing to talk about it, drop me a postcard just to Bruce Williams at 1700 Broadway, care of Talknet, 1700 Broadway, New York, 10019. That's Bruce Williams, care of Talknet, 1700 Broadway, 10019. Tell me a little bit about what you've been stuck with and give us your phone number, and we'll try to get back to you. And who knows, you may see yourself on the tube. Colorado Springs, Colorado, it's your turn. Hi.
Hi, Bruce. I'm so excited to talk to you. I've been waiting all this time.
You rascal. Thank you for waiting. What's on your mind?
Oh, listen. In Colorado, the economy has gotten so bad, I've decided to share my home.
It's a little soggy right now. That's true.
Oh, it's awful. And I have really maybe 2 or 3 questions, all on the same thing to ask you.
Okay.
I ran an ad in the paper to find a roommate.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to know what to look for. What's your advice as what to do? And I'll tell you the first thing that happened to me. I had a gentleman come over, and he moved into the house, was real satisfied, called his girlfriend, and 2 hours later moved out.
What happened?
Well, he got back with his girlfriend.
Oh, I see.
So I'm getting some really strange calls.
Well, you will. I talked to a young lady here a few weeks ago that was looking to be a roommate, and she ultimately made a connection with a couple of ladies. Because we have one of our staff members here shares a room or an apartment, because clearly in this part of the world, you got to make a ton to have an apartment in town.
Right.
I mean, maybe 2 tons.
Right.
Otherwise, you have to share. But first thing you ought to do is draw up a little list of your likes and dislikes. Let's just some of the things we might want to discuss, all right?
Okay.
Let's assume, how old are you?
44.
All right. Are you going to have, you don't care if it's male or a female?
Well,
or do you? Don't put words in your mouth.
Well, I'm trying to get both. I'd like to get a male-female, because I don't think 3 females could get along real well.
Oh, I'm not sure
that's true. And I've got a big house.
Do you have, would everybody get their own bedroom?
Yes.
You probably have to share a bath or 2, though, right?
Yeah, 2 people would share a bath. I'm not going to give up my bath.
And share a kitchen.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Well, the first thing, let's be very practical now. Let's assume you get another female then, all right? Okay. Or a male, for that matter. It doesn't really matter, and I think about it.
Well, Bruce,
hold on
now. Responses I'm getting are male.
All right, but what I'm getting at is it acceptable in your house to bring the girlfriend over for the night? Or if it's a female, to bring the boyfriend over for the night?
Not for the night, no.
Okay, well, that you have to discuss, don't you?
Yeah.
All right. And if not for the night, what time of day or night? You want to walk out of your bedroom, in your whatevers, and there's company.
Uh-huh.
These are things you have to decide. What are you going to do about groceries? Are you each going to have your own Campbell soup, or are you going to throw in so much money in the pot, and you shop this week, I shop next week? What do we do about insurance. We're going to have some kind of insurance policy in case if someone's injured and so on and so forth. You must have a homeowner's policy.
Right.
You have to discuss this with your insurance agent or broker to be certain that what you're doing is okay.
Oh.
That your liability insurance is still in place and that kind of stuff. And what about their things? Are they covered and so on and so forth? All right. Smoking and non-smoking is an issue today. Mm-hmm. Do you do drugs?
Oh,
also,
yeah.
It's an issue today.
Yeah.
It's part of the economy. Not the economy. Excuse me. Not part of the. Well, it's part of the economy too, but it's part of society today. Whether you like it or whether you don't. And you want to find out if it may or may not. What kind of work do you do? If somebody's on the evening shift, it maybe put a big damper on what's going to go on around there in the daytime. These are just some of the things you're looking for. You're looking for somebody you're going to be compatible with. Do they have a private entrance? Probably not. Can they throw a party from time to time? I don't know. These are things you'll have to discuss. But work up a punch list.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't have to be somebody that you would be involved in romantically.
Well, that seems to be the problem. I don't need any romance right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems to be the problem on some of the gentlemen calling.
Well, that's understandable.
Well, Bruce, what do you do, like, on this person that moved in and then got back with his girlfriend? He paid me the rent.
For how long?
Signed a lease for a month.
Well, if he signed a lease, he's stuck for it.
Okay, well, I gave it back to him. He told me to keep $50 for the inconvenience.
Well, that was
really sorry. Now, was that the right thing to do?
You were very generous. I mean, as a practical matter, if he moved in and he signed a lease, he's stuck for that for the month.
Okay. So I was a nice guy then.
Yeah, you were a very nice guy.
Oh, great.
But you have to find somebody who is compatible with you, not only with your likes and dislikes, but in your morality and all this sort of thing.
Okay. Would you go on a month-to-month lease or have him sign a 6-month?
Well, that's up to you.
That's an individual.
That's entirely up to you. I can't tell you what to do there.
Okay. What if when you're interviewing these people,
mm-hmm.
like some of these men, and I just don't want them to know where the house is.
Well, you're going to have to.
Okay. Well, I'd like
how are they going to even discuss something if they? I mean, if I was going to be your roommate, if I didn't see that, why would I want to go through a whole thing and I look and oh my God, this is like the dark hole of Calcutta. I don't want to move in here.
Yeah,
it's like something out of the Munster, but I don't know that.
Yeah, that's true. But what I was thinking is meet him for coffee, get a feel for him.
You could do that, certainly. You could certainly do that. Meet him at some local public place.
Okay.
You know, each of you wear a red carnation or something. I don't know. Good luck, sweetheart.
Okay.
I wish you well.
Okay, thank you.
Shippensburg, Pennsylvania, home of Shippensburg State.
Hello.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm okay.
Listen, I got a question for you on a bankruptcy law.
Talk to me.
All right. It's a terrible thing to do, but I did that. I filed a bankruptcy suit mainly because I was stuck.
Chapter 7?
Yeah, complete.
Absolute bankruptcy, all right.
Right. All right, now, I am still receiving bills from certain creditors, and we've tried to notify them, even though that's up to the bankruptcy court to do that.
Wait a while. Are these creditors who you named, and so the debts were discharged specifically?
Right.
Just send them a copy to discharge, that's all.
Okay.
That's it.
I've done that.
That's all you got to do. Forget about it.
Well, I've had one turn me into a credit bureau for collection.
What kind of a company? Was it a private little merchant, or was somebody a big company?
I'll say a private little merchant.
Well, see, he wouldn't know any better. The big company knows better.
Well, I mean, they've been notified. I know.
Well, but he just may not know any better, or he may think he's still got a shot. You just send him a copy of the thing and tell him that this debt has been discharged by the courts and no longer exists. And you will urge him to discuss this with his attorney because he has no right to pursue any further.
Well, that's I've done all those things that you said.
And
I got a notice the other day that he's turned me into a collection bureau.
Well, go ahead. So you tell a collection bureau, they understand that.
Yeah.
And they are not going to waste time on an uncollectible bill. Just send them a copy of the discharge and say, this guy doesn't know what he's doing or something of that kind.
Oh. Okay, maybe that would be the best route to go.
How much money's involved in this particular?
I think $200. You know.
Just send the company, and you did name him in the bankruptcy.
Oh, yeah.
Then just send the collection agency a photocopy of the discharge, and they won't bother you again.
Okay.
Take good care.
All right, thank you.
Rebuild your life. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet.
A friend is only a toll-free call away at 1-800-TalkNet.
Hello there, Buffalo. What's on your mind?
Hi, Bruce.
Hi.
First, I wanted to tell you, I just started listening to you this week, and I really enjoy your show.
Well,
I've learned a lot.
This week?
Yeah.
You are a brand newie.
Yep.
Well, I'm delighted to have you with us.
Thank you.
What can I do for you?
My husband and I own a home now, and we're thinking about trading residence with a couple up the street from us.
You're kidding me.
No.
How about the husbands and wives? You're going to keep those, though?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. I think
All
so.
right.
Okay, the couple owns a farm with about 65 acres, a barn, a couple outbuildings on a small home.
All right.
We have a larger home with a mortgage on it, about a $54,000 mortgage.
No. How about let's talk relative values first. How much is their farm worth in your best judgment?
Well, it was assessed at $87,500.
Well, assessment doesn't tell me a whole bunch.
Okay, I would say probably around $90,000. It's so close to the assessment.
All right, and what is your home worth?
Ours is worth about $80,000 to $85,000.
All right, they were pretty close in value here, and you just want to swap, and you'd give them some cash in your place.
Yeah.
But you'll have to get a whole brand new mortgage now.
Pardon me?
You'll have to get a new mortgage then.
Yeah, we would have to take out a new mortgage.
Okay, and their place is free and clear, right?
Right.
So they don't have to worry about mortgages.
Right.
Okay, so far so good. It's a little out of the ordinary, but nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, well, it was my husband's idea, so, it just struck me as unusual at first.
Well, it really doesn't. It's only one step removed from the ordinary.
Mm-hmm.
Under ordinary conditions, right?
Mm-hmm.
You would sell your house to Sheila. They would buy their house from you, right?
Right.
And let me see. They so that's all. We have third party involved there to step in the middle.
Okay.
So you don't have the third. In other words, what I'm getting at is that if let's assume that, or we could have a fourth party. You want to buy their house.
Mm-hmm.
You sell your house to me. They sell. No, it's three parties. It only takes three parties here.
Right.
Ordinarily, so you just cut the third party out. I have no problem with that.
Okay.
Sounds okay to me.
You don't see any legal problems arising or anything like that?
Well, no, it could be a sale. You'd be better off with a swap. Let's start with that.
Okay.
Because this way, well, are these your both principal residences?
Right.
Then
yeah.
it doesn't make any difference whether it's a swap or a sale. There's no tax
Right.
advantage in one over the other.
Right.
No, it sounds cool to me. It's just unusual, but it sounds good. There's nothing wrong with it in the world.
So we should probably just have our attorneys draw up any.
Well, absolutely. This is a sale. The only difference in the sale, you're going to have to go through the whole routine. You're going to have to get a search.
Right.
You're going to have to, in your case, get a mortgage.
Right.
Find out about all the easements and all that good stuff if there are any.
Okay.
And then a survey on 65 acres should be a fairly expensive item,
Mm-hmm.
but you're going to have it done,
Mm-hmm.
and go from there.
Okay.
It's just like you're spending property and spending money. Same thing.
Yeah. It's bartering.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing.
They have a realtor. What they had done is they had listed it with a real estate agent.
All right, that's their problem.
Okay. They would still probably have to come up with a realtor
Not
fee.
probably.
We'll have to.
You bet. They have
Okay.
an obligation to pay the real estate guy.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I take it you did not.
No. Mm-mm.
Then you do not.
Okay.
Hey, happy house hunting.
Thanks.
Hey, I'm glad to have you with us.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Eagle River, Alaska. Let me see. I got to push a couple of buttons here to get you up here, Eagle River. Where'd you go? There you go. Hello there. Sheila finessed me by pushing the screen up, and I'm a little slow here. What's on your mind? No, I didn't do it right. By golly. Eagle River's down here. Hello there.
Bruce,
Yeah.
your voice on the telephone. I've been a listener for quite a while now when I can pick you up during drive time.
Oh, I'm delighted. Where are you? Where is Eagle River? What's in here?
It's right outside of Anchorage. I was unable to see you in your appearance here in Anchorage and then your recent one in Fairbanks.
Uh-huh.
I couldn't get to the shows, but I always enjoy listening to you, and I watch your tapes, and I respect your advice.
Well, thanks much. I'm kind of hopeful to get up there again. I had a delightful time. What can I do for you?
I had a gentleman that owed me $5,000 on a personal loan type basis, and I was afraid that I wasn't going to get repayment from him within a statute of limitations, so I got a small claims court judgment.
Small claims for
In Alaska, small claims goes to $5,000.
Yeah, they do everything big in Alaska, huh? Okay.
And it's a good thing it did too, because that's what he owed me, and so I have a judgment, and he has no income. He has a fairly valuable piece of property, a home and land that he owns in Eagle River, and I wanted to know in what way I can best protect my interest.
You can get a judgment and file a judgment against the property, but you can't force them to sell it.
Yeah, I'm not in any rush for the money. I just want to make sure that I don't get cut out.
Well, what will happen is it'll draw interest. And
right. The court awarded me 10% interest.
All right, but hold on now. However,
yes,
there's something else I want you to be certain to check, and that's how often the judgment must be renewed.
Okay.
In other words, if you let it hang around long enough, in most, if not all jurisdictions, it will expire unless you do something positive to go renew it.
Okay. For some reason or other, the term 15 years crosses my mind.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that is, but you want to find out just so you know.
That's something that I do need to check on.
Absolutely.
Now, one of the things that I did was I made sure to have the judgment recorded at the land recorder's office.
That's
also.
Correct. That's right.
Does that mean that I now have a lien against his real property?
I would assume that that's what it means. I mean, I'm saying that because we're into technicalities here, and I don't want to. I don't want to say something I shouldn't say that's out of line. If you have properly filed the judgment, then he cannot sell that property until that judgment has been satisfied.
Okay. I just want to ensure that I'm protected.
Yeah, but you heard what I said now. I said if you have it properly filed, there should be somebody there at the county seat that can tell you that you have filed it correctly, so that it will show in a judgment search, so he can't sell the property without satisfying it.
Okay, I can verify that and make sure what the renewal period on the.
There you go. Other than that, just sit back and, well, I don't know about relaxing, but how old are you? How old are you?
Mid-40s.
Well, hopefully you'll outlive the guy. I wish you well, my friend.
I'm planning to. My health is a lot better than his.
Okay, kid. I'm Bruce Williams, and yeah, I'm so pleased you're here on Talknet. Los Angeles, California. Hello there. Welcome to Talknet.
Hi. I'm thinking about going to law school.
You aren't. I take it you are a non-traditional student.
Yes.
Non-traditional as defined, you're more than 23 or 24.
I'm 31.
Oh, well, you're over the hill, 1 foot of a banana peel. Now, I think that perhaps you ought to think about other. Yes, why not? Except that do you realize that is it 15% of all lawyers in the country live in California?
Really?
Yeah. You are definitely you're an over-lawyered state.
I just moved here.
You're still an over-lawyered state. But go ahead.
And I'm wondering if there's any way I can preview it before I spend $30,000.
Preview what? Law school or law?
Well, law.
Yeah, get a job in a lawyer's office.
But don't you think I've had jobs like in sales offices? Mm-hmm. Being a secretary in a sales office is very different than being a salesman.
That's absolutely true, but at least you have more. You know more about the salesman than the person who's never been a secretary in the office. You can't go out and OJT as a 747 pilot. You got to go out and work your way through the process because there are a lot of things at stake here, and the same thing is true with law. Mm-hmm. You could take a course as a paralegal, but I think that would be largely a waste of time if you want to go through law school. Mm-hmm. But I think the closest you can get is a married, single, or what?
I'm married.
I say you could marry a lawyer if you wanted to. That would give you some insight. But
well, I'm already happily married.
Okay, we can't marry you off to a lawyer. Well, and the answer is to get yourself a job in a law firm for 6 months or so.
Doing what type of?
Whatever you can do. Yes, do you have secretarial skills?
Yeah, I do.
Well, in that case, be a secretary in a law firm.
And just try it for a bit.
Pardon me?
And just try it for a bit.
Well, at least you'll be exposed to what attorneys do all day. And I'd level with them. And it could well be that they'll keep you on in some capacity while you're in school.
Right.
But I'd level with them and say, listen, I'm thinking about becoming a lawyer. But you realize you're entering an extremely crowded field. I mean, really, if the law school shut down for the next 5 years, there'd be no loss.
Right.
I don't mean that pejoratively. They're just,
they're just too. My sister's a lawyer also.
And 25% of all the lawyers in this country graduated in the last 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah, they're going to be around a long time is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that if there's another profession that you think you'd like to pursue, in terms of just availability of jobs, law is would be a very, very low, be low on my list.
Well, my second choice is writing for television.
Well, as I said, law is right there on my list. That's even.
Do you think my second choice might be better?
No, I think law. I think the second choice is even more competitive and there are less positions available.
Uh-huh.
Now, that doesn't mean somebody doesn't have the job, isn't going to get the job because somebody is.
Mm-hmm.
But talk about competitive. And furthermore, you're living in L.A. just now.
Yeah.
But you may decide to move someplace else for whatever reason. There's only 2 or 3 places in the country that you can live and write for television.
Right.
Very narrow area. You picked 2 narrow areas, kid. Couldn't you pick something a little broader?
Well, I'm fussy. I've had 1 million jobs in my life so far.
Well, I'm at 31, maybe a half a million?
$500,000.
Mm.
And I'm looking for a career.
What have you done?
Something exciting.
What makes you think writing for television is exciting? That's about as exciting as watching spinach grow.
Think?
It's dull.
Well, I have a degree in psychology, and I have a degree in photography.
Well, in other words, you couldn't figure out what you wanted to be even earlier on, huh?
Right. And I'm still having that problem, and now that's what I've been considering lately.
I think that you ought to get out in the world a little bit before you invest a lot of you are typical of a lot of folks that retreat to the halls of ivy when you can't figure out what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound reasonable to you?
Yeah, I've been waitressing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just tired of being a waitress.
And you'd like to what you want to do something where you're secure and comfortable, and that's school.
Exactly. I mean, I don't have to worry about my home life. That's all together. All I have to worry about is making money and being happy.
Well, you've picked 2 careers that are tough. One that's grossly overpopulated, and the second that is just a very narrow area. There are relatively few people working in it. Very tough area to work in.
What if I think I'm better than everybody else?
Listen, I have no problem with that. I've always known that I was better. Because you got to believe it before anybody else will. I have no quarrel with that. But then you got to go out and prove it to other people. That's what becomes a little more difficult.
That's what I've always found is a difficult
That
part.
becomes difficult from time to time. Good luck with it, hon.
Okay, thank you.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around. Glad you're here. This is Talknet. Cincinnati, it's your turn. Welcome to Talknet.
Yeah, hi, Bruce. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
I won the Ohio lottery back in June, and I just got my first check today.
Congratulations. I'm afraid to ask, but tell me, how much?
I won $9 million.
9 with a lot of zeros after it.
Yeah, and I got my first check today for $360,000.
How often do you get a check?
Every year for 20 years.
Wait a minute. 300,000.
Well, they took out 20% for tax.
Something's wrong here.
It's $450,000 a year, and they take out
454. Okay, that's 4.98 million. Okay, 9 million. Okay.
And then they take out 20% for taxes, which leaves me $360,000.
Well, you can get along on that, I guess.
And then I figure I'm going to owe them another $75,000 in taxes, so it's still going to leave me about $270,000, $280,000.
Mm-hmm.
I need to know where can I go or to find out who can advise me as to what to do with this money. I mean, look for financial planners, insurance agents.
No, I'd look at a good financial planner, one who charges a fee as opposed to no fee but gets a commission on whatever he or she recommends.
I see.
Pay a straight fee where they understand they will sell you nothing.
I see.
You'll go out and buy. You may or may not go out and follow their advice.
But
the income that you've described would warrant that. But in the meantime, you are going to be, you may already have been, deluged with people trying to hustle you, people trying to tell you what to do with your money, people looking for donations, etc. Is that not true?
Sure have.
Okay. Be strong about that, and let the dust settle for 6 months. Throw it into a couple, 3 CDs or some treasury instruments. And look, I can set up a rotation for you, but that's not going to amount to a hell of a lot, really.
Sure.
The point is that what I would try to avoid is doing something super precipitous. Now, did you keep your job or did you quit?
No, I kept my job.
Okay. You married, single, what?
Married, 2 children.
How's the home life? Is it still relatively normal?
Yes and no. Everybody wants everything, you know. The new bikes, the new clothes, the new cars, that type of thing.
Put a break on that too, if you can.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I was going to do is that the total that I owe in debt is $109,000. That's a house mortgage, cars, credit cards. I was going to pay all that off.
Well, it doesn't matter. You can do that.
You know,
it really doesn't matter a whole bunch in the long scheme of things.
As a matter of fact,
the house I wouldn't pay off.
No,
because you could invest the money in without any conflict in tax exempts, a parallel sum, an offsetting sum, and you'd wind up with more money at the end of the year.
I see.
It's called a compensating balance, for lack of a better term. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't often do it. The car, you want to pay it off, go ahead. The credit card loans, clearly. But if it's possible, I try to keep my balance. You know, the history of people who have won the kind of money you've won is not a happy history.
I'm aware of that. That's why I'm trying to make sure I do the right thing, and when the 20 years is over, I still have a substantial amount of it saved.
Oh, you ought to have a ton. How old are you?
44.
Oh, you ought to have a ton when you're 65.
Well, I think so.
You really want to get some good tax advice in terms of ways to shelter some of your income.
Am I best to go to a CPA or just someone who specializes in the tax area?
Well, the likely, you see, when you say CPA, that just means someone is certified to do certain things, to say this is what these papers say, and they have a certification that they can put, kind of a seal to put on it, all right?
I see.
The fact that you're certified doesn't necessarily mean you know a thing about taxes, because you could be working in other areas. It doesn't mean you know a thing about investments. So what you're looking for is an investment counselor. I would want somebody who is a certified financial planner, CFP.
Okay.
Someone who's been around for a while. A little fleck of gray hair wouldn't upset me in this regard, although there could be somebody 20 years old who's, outstanding.
Sure.
But I want to take a look at their track record and see what they've done for other people. As I mentioned, it would be someone who charges a fee as opposed to, I don't charge a fee, this is what I sell you. Because there's a temptation to recommend what is best for them rather than what's best for you.
I see.
And beyond that, go slowly.
Uh-huh.
Go slowly. You got a lot of time.
Would you think maybe contact maybe 2 or 3 of them?
At least.
Because I'm not concerned about paying a fee.
At least. Okay. Interview them. And check their references out. And if you can't hire somebody to check their references out.
Oh, I can certainly do that.
You can indeed.
All right, thank you
and
very
just try
much.
to keep your balance.
That's easy.
As I said,
done.
Well, that's true. It is easier, but as I mentioned, there have been a significant number of people who didn't handle it well, and decide. I mean, you want a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
But it ain't that much money. You'd be surprised how fast you can go through that kind of dough.
Well, I'm sure.
Oh, I know. Trust me.
Just adding some of the things that we'd thought about buying already would already take over 100.
Sure. It doesn't take long, and then there are things that you can afford pretty much what you want within reason. But wouldn't it be nice to make it grow?
Well, that's what I want to do.
And keep your sanity.
Absolutely.
Good luck, kid.
Thank you.
I'm Bruce Williams. Agree, disagree. It's a great windfall. I'm sure that all of us, or most of us, are somewhat envious. But it's occurred. I've said this so many times in interviews and in private shows, and perhaps here. I'm not much different off the air and on the air. It just occurs to me. I've always thought that money, to be left a great deal of money, would be somewhat of a burden. You think of families like the Kennedys. Now, I've never been a great admirer certainly of their politics, but you've got to give them something. That John Kennedy, Joe Kennedy died before he really had. He was a very young man, but John Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy, and even Captain Blowdry, Ted Kennedy. These guys all were born retired. Now, they could have been real non-achieving bums, and the money was coming in for the rest of their life because their father established annuities the day they were born. Now, you may disagree with their politics, and clearly I have on many occasions, but you have to admire them that they went out and they worked, they put long days in, they did what they found of interest when they didn't have to work for money. The same thing could be said for most of the Rockefellers, the Harrimans. Franklin Roosevelt in his time was a very wealthy man, as contrasted with Dwight Eisenhower and Richard Nixon, who had to work for a living, and Harry Truman, who had to work for a living. And there are many people that were born to money, and they parlayed it. Donald Trump would be a classic example of that. Howard Hughes, an earlier example. But to think about it, how much of your time you've spent earning money, working for it, preparing to work for it. Because obviously, that's one of the reasons we get educated, so we can make a buck. It would take quite a bit out of your life to suddenly not have to consider it. And it would seem to me it takes an enormous strength of character to have tons of money dumped on you and not just go totally off the deep end. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet.
Talknet is America's party line. Call us at 1-800-TALKNET.
Time for us to go to Daytona Beach, Florida. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce. How are you doing tonight?
Everything is just fine. Looking forward to a long, pleasant Labor Day?
Well, actually, I have to work. I work for a newspaper. I just started about 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. What do you do?
I'm an intern, and I just do stories. I've already finished all my courses at the college that I go to, and now I have to get an internship so I can get my degree.
Get out the real world, huh?
Yeah, the real world.
You're a people in training. Now you got to be real people pretty soon. Okay.
Well, I'm going to get my degree in December, but there's just one problem.
What's the problem?
It's a very small paper, and the people, there's one lady, there's 8 of us who work there, and there's one lady who's a receptionist, and she smokes. And my lungs aren't the greatest. I'm a healthy person, but I cannot tolerate cigarette smoke.
How far away is this receptionist from you?
Well, the problem is I don't have a desk right now. It's just, it's a very small, small place.
Well, what do you have? Where do you hang out?
Well, I kind of have a desk that the advertising lady, she has, and she comes in only a couple days.
How far from the receptionist? We're back to that again.
Oh, about 10 feet away.
Well, the smoke bothers you that far away?
Well, okay, let me explain something. She comes back in this little area right next to me, and she smokes, and it all comes like right in my face.
Buy a little fan.
Yeah, but do you smoke?
Not anymore. 9 years.
Well, it's like I said, it's a very small place, and it circulates through the air.
The problem is, though, you're an intern.
Yeah, I know. But let me just tell you a little bit more. The man who is the publisher of the paper, he has a policy of no smoking.
Well, he does.
Yeah, but the problem is he is in another town a little bit further south of us. And he's not there to see what's going on. And she gets up every 2 minutes and smokes, and it's like...
Well, it's an addiction. It's a terrible addiction. I was right there, the chief addict. I understand that. I can sympathize with that.
Yeah, well, she chain smokes. I mean, she'll type a few lines on the computer, get up, light a cigarette.
And she always comes back by you?
And yeah, she always comes back.
Well, why don't you see if you can relocate your desk?
Yeah, that's true. But the point is, I mean, if it's a no-smoking place...
My dear, how long do you think you're going to be around if you start making waves? You are a little brat coming in. I don't mean that just pejoratively. You are, you know what I'm saying? You are the brand new kid in the block, and you're not even an employee, you're an intern.
Yeah, but isn't that supposed to be...
You're absolutely right, but you're going to be right and out on the street right at the same time. Because they'll find a way to dump you.
Well, if the man that is a publisher, if I would call him and tell him about it...
You know what I'd do if I were he? Well, you'd be history so quick I'd make your eyes swim.
Really? Well, she's just a receptionist. And
that doesn't matter. I wouldn't want some college kid come crying to me. I would think, what kind of what is she? If she can't solve this on her own or find a way around it, get out of my life. You're asking me how I handle it. I realize you're right, but there's a lot of times you better learn this in life. You're going to be right, but you're wrong. If you're right, you're going to lose. Now, I would think a lot more of you if you were working for me. If you bought yourself a little fan or relocated yourself someplace else, because that proves to me that A, you're thinking, and B, you're a survivor.
Okay, also, but the thing is, I mean, it gets me physically sick.
Well, then I'd get another place to work.
Yeah, well,
I cannot believe that if you get yourself a good fan blown across your nose, or one of these little smoke eaters nearby that you can buy for a relatively little bit of money, that you could solve the problem. But you see, I'm not trying to be unsympathetic, but this is the real world we're in now.
Yeah, but isn't it 1990 and don't smokers not have any rights anymore? I mean, isn't that the way it is for the workplace? I mean, if this man, he
I think probably legally you may be right too. Many places you can't smoke at work anymore. Listen, I don't like people smoking next to me either. I must tell you.
Well,
but you're 22, baby.
But that's his policy, and if he knew about it, I'm just wondering,
Well, why don't you tell him and see what happens?
But do you think it would,
I'd blow you out. I'd blow you out for a couple. The big reason, not because you were wrong, but I think I don't need a crybaby working for me, not a kid. Not a kid who's been here for 2 weeks.
Well,
I can hear all the people who are asthmatic and whatever saying I'm full of nonsense. I'm just telling you that I don't like people to smoke around me. Let's start with that, okay?
Right.
I didn't like people who smoked in the studio that I worked at, and made that very clear because I have seniority around this store.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Well, I do radio also as a part-time job.
Okay.
I announce classical music
Uh-huh.
in another town,
Mhm.
and like there's no smoking at all in the studio. There's like a little room. Of course, it's a very big building. It's a public station, and
See, look, I'm not, and I don't like smokers in airplanes either. What do you think of that?
oh yeah, definitely.
But we have to take the circumstances here. You're an intern. That's lower than the whale's belly.
Well,
I mean, it's much lower. A secretary is someone. A secretary is someplace in the left hand of God next to what you are. You're nothing.
Yeah.
I got a picture of an intern around this place, even opening their mouth. Opening their mouth, and they'd be gone so quick, make your head swim.
Well, what do you think he would say if he knew that somebody was...
I know what I would say if an intern came to me. Get rid of that intern.
Yeah.
Really?
But nobody else likes it either. And
Well, then let somebody else who's there on a regular basis bell the cat.
I see.
You're there for 2 weeks, and you're gonna start throwing your weight around. Seriously, what's your first name? What's your first name?
Yvonne.
Yvonne, you're gonna get killed. They're gonna have you for lunch.
Okay. Well, the lady that works here, she's the associate editor.
Yeah. What about her?
She said she would say something for me.
Well, not for you.
Well, just for everybody.
Well, wait a while. But she's gonna sucker you into this for you.
Yeah.
You're getting suckered. You don't want to hear that, do you?
You think that he'll turn around and fire me just because I said that? I mean, if it's his policy, that's what I'm asking.
I understand that, but what is she going to say? Look, nobody minds Mary Jane smoking, but we had this intern. Yeah, she's graduating in December, and yeah, she's raising hell about this whole thing. Whew.
Yeah. Well, okay. I will think about what you said.
It's the real world, kid.
Yeah, I know.
And interns sometimes have a habit of growing up. We had an intern when I worked at a local radio station here in New York City. His name was Brennan, the Irish kid.
Oh.
And Dick came over here to be working on my show, and then he got another job, and Dick now is a big executive in his not quite 30. So he's done very well.
Right.
And the first time I knew Dick, I was the big star, and he was an intern. So now I got to say Mr. Brennan to him, you know? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I have to salute him when he comes in.
But that seems kind of absurd, though. I mean, just because you're just a nobody, I mean, don't people have the right to breathe fresh air?
Sure you do. Out in the park.
Out in the park. Yeah, but it's a job, and I have to work. I mean, it's not like, it's like if you go to a nightclub.
My dear. Cervantes invented Don Quixote. Yeah. One was enough. You're right, but you're going to get killed. But go ahead, get killed, and then you'll find out about it.
Well,
that's part of living. That's part of living too. You make your mistakes and get bloody. You're clearly right, and clearly I agree with you. But you're 22 and a kid.
Well, I'm not a kid.
Yes, you are. You're still a kid and an intern. You're not even at school yet, for crying out loud.
I didn't go to school early.
Doesn't matter. You're 20. How old are you?
28.
Oh, 28. Well, you're a 28-year-old kid. You're still an intern.
So I have no rights, and I guess I have to be a peon and wait till I get a position, and then I can complain, right?
Well, have a long memory. Maybe this lady will work for you one day, and you'll have the joy of fire. I don't know.
Well, by that time, she'll probably die of something.
Well, that's another story. I don't mean to be insensitive to you, love.
Yeah, I know what you're.
I'm just telling you what the real world is like out here.
Okay. Well, thanks for your help.
Hey, have a great holiday.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Yeah. But the interesting thing was, the other gal setting her up. Setting her up. She'll never know what hit her. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Edison, New Jersey. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce. How are you?
I am well. What's on your mind?
Well, I went on an interview yesterday for a part-time position.
Uh-huh.
And in the ad, they said that the salary was open. So I really didn't know how high they were going to go.
Okay.
After the girl had asked me, how high a salary I needed.
And what did you want, right?
Well, I kind of lowballed myself, thinking they weren't going to go as high as I wanted, and I said between $8.50 and $9 an hour.
All right.
And she said that would be no problem. And as we went a little further into the conversation, she mentioned that the salary would probably go as high as 10, possibly 11.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my dilemma is that I really need at least $10 an hour because it is a part-time position.
Then why did you ask for $8.50 then?
Well, because I didn't know exactly how high they were going to go. I didn't think, it's a small company, and I really didn't think they were going to be able to go that high.
Well, there's not much you can do about it now.
There really isn't, even though I know she's seriously considering me. I went yesterday. She called me yesterday afternoon to tell me that she was very impressed, and she even called me this morning to make sure I still hadn't taken.
Well, that doesn't mean she won't offer you the $10 or $11.
So there's no way to.
But you can't go back and. First of all, let's see what they come up with.
Uh-huh.
If they come up with 9, you could mention the fact that, gee, that's okay, but you did say that could go as high as 10 or 11. Can I expect a raise in a reasonable period of time?
Oh, that's true. So maybe in 60 or 90 days?
Yeah, 90, 100, whatever.
Yeah.
But walk a little softly, because you did put a price on your services.
Right.
You may have made a mistake.
Okay.
But the price is there. But you say, listen, that's fine, but I would. How about a review in 60 days or 90 days?
Oh, that sounds good.
Okay, what kind of job?
It's an office assistant.
Well, you do the right job, kick butt. Fair enough?
Great.
Have a great holiday, my friends, but drive safely, and if I catch you drinking, I'll kick your butt. You try and do what's right. I'm Bruce Williams. Keep in touch. We go now to Bellingham, Washington. Welcome to Talknet, and thank you very much for your patience.
Well, hi, Bruce. How are you?
I am well, thank you.
A couple days ago, I got in the mail a thing that was, call this number for information about government auctions.
Yeah.
And the upshot of it is that they wanted to charge $60, and for that they would send me information about when there are auctions in my area and the list of the items on the auction.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of have two questions. First of all, it seems to me this must be public information, and there must be a way I can get it.
Certainly is.
Without paying for it.
You certainly can.
And my other question is, I've never been to a government auction, and I'm curious.
Well, that's a different matter. That's the General Services Administration, I believe, is the government agency you want to talk to.
Okay.
And you can get the information. That's like anything else, however. I'm not necessarily telling you want to subscribe to this. Let's start with that.
Mm-hmm.
However, it may be worth, if you're really interested,
mm-hmm.
in having somebody else do the legwork.
Okay.
For 60. I don't know that to be the case, but I wouldn't discount it out of hand.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, government auctions by the hustlers have been greatly exaggerated. A few years ago, you'd hear these things on the radio. You'd be advised how to get to these auctions.
Mm.
So-and-so bought a yacht, 80 feet long, for $10.
Right.
Well, the chances of that happening are about the same as you finding a moon rock. Now, I'm not going to, I think the boat thing actually did happen. They had an auction, there was a blizzard, and they were obliged to hold it or some silly thing.
Uh-huh.
But that is not the ordinary.
Okay.
Mostly you're going to find stuff that is not especially valuable. And there may be a Mercedes or a BMW, but not in the condition you want.
Okay.
However, could be an adventure. Go for it.
Okay.
Some stuff does go at decent rates.
Okay. Well, because, mostly I'm curious about, we need a car.
Well, that's not where I'd go to look for a car. Let's start with that. Not if it was me.
And I was also curious about, they talked about electronics and computers. And
look, they're trying to hustle you to buy the list.
Right.
And they're going to give you the very bright picture. The bright picture really is not necessarily an accurate picture.
Okay.
That's what it comes down to.
Okay. Well, thank you for your advice.
Alrighty, but listen, you want to go to an auction, fine.
Uh-huh.
But I wouldn't go with the idea, well, I'm going to get that car of my dreams for next to nothing and so on and so forth, because I think the chances of that happening are very, very remote.
Okay.
Good luck, guy.
Well, thank you.
Leesburg, Florida, your turn.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Bruce. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Well, I'm glad you got around to calling, kid.
Got a problem that I haven't heard on your show, and that's rare.
Yeah, I would say. I'm willing to listen.
My daughter's got stuck with a lot of phone calls to pay for that she didn't make, and I'll explain how that happened.
Yes, please do.
My daughter is a single parent, has a teenage daughter, and two of her friends came to live with my daughter because their mother was detained in and by another state. In other words, the mother was in prison. So my daughter tried to do a good turn and take in two of her daughter's friends. Now, it seems that she's been getting collect calls from prison, and the kids, the teenage kids, 13 and 15 years old have been accepting the phone calls collect.
In most prisons, that's the only kind of a call they can make. They can't even make credit card calls.
Now, she has bills of over $600 on her telephone that have been accepted in her home.
She has to pay them.
By these kids when she wasn't there. They're minors.
Doesn't matter.
And there's at least 3 different long-distance carriers involved.
She, meaning your daughter, was a nice person. Let's start with that.
Uh-huh.
But she also invited these people into her home, made the telephone available to them.
Yeah.
And she stuck with a bill.
It's incredible.
Why is it incredible?
Well, the telephone company locally, of course, told her she had to pay the bill, but I'm just wondering if she had any recourse, if she went to a higher telephone authority.
Ask yourself, why would there be any recourse? Her phone made the calls.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody broke into her house.
True.
The people were living there.
Yeah.
Well, how is the phone company supposed to know who is allowed to make a call and who is not?
Yeah, I see your point.
Well, that's the end of it. She's responsible.
Yeah, I figured if they took her credit card and went out and charged a whole bunch of stuff, that she wouldn't end up having to pay for it.
That's a different matter.
They're minors, and she didn't sign, you know?
Isn't that a different matter? Really?
I guess it is if you say it is.
They're living in the house.
Yeah.
At her behest. Now, if they broke into the house, that would be a different matter. You just file a complaint. But they didn't break in. They lived there.
Okay.
You have a phone in your house, right?
Right.
Who's to know if I'm in your home at a party or whatever that I have? How does anybody know that I said, "Hey, John, can I use telephone?"
Yeah, I see your point.
The answer is lock up the phone.
Well, she finally, when she got the bill, she put a block on the line so she could not, so no collect calls could be made.
No collect calls could be accepted. You mean?
Yeah. But it was about $650 too late.
Well, I'm afraid she's stuck for the $650, my friend.
That's rough.
Yeah, it is. But on the other hand, she kind of stuck her neck out, didn't she?
Well, she did. She tried to do a good thing, and it backfired.
Well, I suppose. On the other hand, here are these young kids, and they're separated from their mother.
Yeah.
And they want a way to talk to her. You can't hate them for that either, can you?
Well, see, they didn't make the calls. They were made collect by the mother.
I understand that. You can't call the prison.
Yeah, right.
Prisoners can make outgoing calls, but for whatever reason, they got to be collect. I don't understand why they can't have a credit card. Or why they can't have it billed to them or whatever. They're not allowed to do that.
I kind of looked upon it as larceny because the kids didn't have the money to pay the bill and the mother didn't have a dime either.
Well, that has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
It really has nothing whatever to do with anything. There is a presumption that if someone has legal access to your phones, they have a right to use them.
Okay.
I do wish you well, guys.
Well, thanks for your advice. Appreciate it.
Madison, Wisconsin, it's your turn. Hello.
Hey, Bruce. Pleasure to talk to you.
Well, thank you.
Second-time caller.
Well, I'm glad you're here.
Say, I'm a recruiter for the military.
Right.
And times are a little tough right now.
Is that right?
Yeah, very tough.
I have a tough time getting the troops, huh?
Extremely tough. As a matter of fact, we're working right now. We don't really know why. We really sit around here and beat our heads.
I was just going to ask you, well, there's no war going on right now. That's for openers, isn't it?
Yeah, well, a lot of it we feel is there's a lot of college money available to kids out there nowadays, other than what the military has to offer.
All right.
And kids are just not interested in the military these days. I don't know if it's a change in the generation or what, but things are extremely tough. You know, we as recruiters don't have a lot of control over advertising.
Nope.
And
but you have a quota. If you don't meet your quota, you're in trouble.
Well, you got that right.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
What do you recommend?
I don't know if there's anything you can do. As you pointed out, this is
enthusiasm going and.
Well, that's another matter.
You know, I mean, we spend hours and hours on the telephone. You know, every night making cold calls.
Cold calls to recruit people?
Sure.
You're kidding me. I mean, if my phone could ring and they're going to say, "What branch do you Army?"
Navy.
Okay, I could get a cold call saying, "Hey, Bruce, join the Navy."
Well, not necessarily. No. See, we keep for high school seniors, and then for 4 years after they finish their senior year.
I think I'm safe.
Yeah, I think so.
Boy, am I safe.
So, I don't think you have anything to worry about.
No, I sure don't, because among other things, you see I'm a coward.
But see, we we get their names off a list and things like that, and then we sit here night after night after night, 6 days a week, making these calls to people. And you take a lot of rejection day in and day out.
Yep, that's what sales is all about.
We make a lot of appointments, a lot of no-shows.
Well, you're dealing with kids.
Yeah. And right now we're mainly working in a workforce market. We're not even really recruiting high school seniors.
Yeah.
So, our market is limited, but the goals stay the same. So, the motivation out here is, tough.
I have no idea what to tell you.
Ever seen these motivational speakers and stuff like that around?
Oh, sure.
Ever been to any of them?
I've done some of them.
Have you really?
Yes, sir.
Could you come out here?
I have done them. You're in Madison, right?
Yeah.
I've been in Madison a couple, 3 times.
Boy, we could use your help.
WTDY country.
Sure.
I wish I had a better answer. I'm not sure I could help you in this.
Yes.
I don't have a clue how you're going to do recruiting. I just don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, it's tough times.
Well, all I can do is tell you, keep working, try to keep your chin up.
More phone calls. That's what.
Lots more phone calls.
That's what our bosses. That's their answer to the problem is more phone calls.
Well, I don't know that that's necessarily the only answer. Do you go out to schools and speak?
Right.
That kind of stuff.
Yep. Some schools allow once a month. Some schools once a quarter.
Mm-hmm.
So, but really, right now that we're not really in a high school senior market, we're not hitting the high schools as hard as what we normally.
Why are you not hitting the high schools?
Because they feel it's not beneficial to our time. We should be concentrating in the workforce area.
Older recruits, you mean?
Yeah, people who have graduated high school.
Mm-hmm.
That's our workforce market.
I got you covered. Good luck, Sailor. I wish I had a better answer for you, but recruiting for the military is not exactly a strong point for me. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Let's go to Morton, Illinois, and see what's cooking. Hello there.
Hello, Bruce.
Hi.
My name's Rick.
Yeah, Rick.
And I just wanted to comment on the gentleman that called a couple of minutes ago. He says he's a recruiter and he's having a hard time getting guys in.
Yeah.
I was a Marine Corps recruiter for 3 years. I just got out of the Marine Corps.
Uh-huh.
And I think he's losing sight of his job. And I've been listening to you for a couple of months, and something that you were thinking of saying, just from, I'm assuming a lot about what was maybe running through your brain.
Go ahead.
But I think these things may have occurred to you, and I think he just needs to, focus on his goal there. And if I can give him a little bit of advice, if he's still listening.
Go for it.
Kids didn't ever join for college money. They joined for patriotism. They joined because it was something that their dad did or their uncle did or their grandfather did. And they saw that person, hopefully, was in a position of, some kind of leadership in whatever job they got when they got out. And that they were proud of what they had done and how they had served their country.
Mm-hmm.
And he just needs to concentrate on those things.
Isn't it more difficult in peacetime when there's nothing happening? And that, for example, when the Gulf thing was very much in everybody's mind, I have to believe you wouldn't have as much trouble.
Oh no, we didn't. I was a recruiter at that time,
right.
And my brother went over there, and a lot of the guys that came into our office to talk to us and see if they qualified and all that stuff came in because they wanted to go to war.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, a lot of those guys just wanted a gun to go shoot people. But
well, I'm not sure that is totally. I think that maybe the bravado and so forth. There's a little more to it than that.
Yeah, there's a great deal of machismo in there, but it was easier to get the kids to talk to you, but the parents didn't care. It didn't change the parents' attitude then from when the Gulf was going on to, peace.
It didn't.
A lot of the parents that I talked to had no feelings one way or the other, super strong negative or super strong positive, that it was going to be their child over there.
Is that right? That would surprise me.
I think it was because everybody was pretty confident that it was going to be quick. And, you go through a couple of months of boot camp and a couple of months of training, and in reality, it was over by the time that happened.
Pretty near. But you're saying just keep his eye on the ball is what you're telling me.
Yeah, just the things that he did the first day. I know how it feels when you get to be a recruiter, and that first day you go out there and you're pumped. You can help somebody do something that hopefully you're positive helped you. And he just needs to think back to the feeling he had that first day.
Got you covered. Hey, thank you very much for sharing, Guy. Good luck with your civilian career.
Thanks, Bruce.
Minneapolis, Minnesota, your turn.
Bruce, long-time listener. Great
well, I'm
show.
very happy you're here, kid. What's on your mind?
I have got a 1988 luxury car.
Mm-hmm.
It sold for about $33,000. Nice car.
Cadillac or a Lincoln?
It's front-wheel drive.
Well, that would be a Cadillac.
No, it's a Lincoln.
Lincoln?
Yeah,
but
Lincoln.
I was going to say, which one? Because the town car is not front wheel.
No, well, they told me not to say any car names.
Doesn't matter. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm on the highway, driving 55, 60 miles an hour. I slow down and exit onto a frontage road. I'm driving very slow. There's some heavy traffic. I slow down. I'm going about 10 miles an hour. And the front, there's a loud snap in the front end. And I lose steering control on the car.
Mm-hmm.
Just the steering wheel just froze up. And fortunately, I was close to a dealership, and I couldn't even steer it. It turned out that if you ever look under there, there's these big 4-inch washers holding the back of the motor up.
Say the truth, I haven't looked under a car in years.
Okay, well, what it was like a $10 item that had failed, and the back of the engine dropped about 7 inches, and it broke my steering column.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it cost me $600-700 to fix. That it could have been avoided with a $10 washer and bolt.
Well,
but
you can make the point that if a cotter key goes in certain circumstances, which costs a penny or two,
right,
it can cause a whole series of calamities in wherever it happens to be being used. But I don't know that you can say, well, the company's responsible because a cheap part went.
Well, two of the less expensive model of cars, front-wheel drives, have been recalled for the same problem.
By the same company?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't expect them to come deliver a new car at my front door or pay for the damage or anything. But my concern is that this probably, mine isn't the only car out there that's 6 years old. Is there? I did call the consumer hotline or whatever they have, and that sounded more like a statistics line where they took what happened and asked me if anybody was hurt or killed. And my concern is that, that could happen half a mile before that or the next day or whatever on the way to Christmas.
Yeah, but the thing is, are you alleging that this is an inherent defect or just happening? Things do break if they're mechanical.
Sure.
Now, if this is happening regularly, that's one set of conditions. But everything on every car ever made, if you make enough of them, is going to bust.
Sure.
If it's happening in an inordinate number of occasions, out of the statistical norm, that's one thing.
Mm-hmm. Who keeps track of that?
Pardon?
Who keeps track of that? The dealers or the manufacturer of the car?
The manufacturer keeps track of that.
Okay.
Now, the dealer, if you know anybody at the dealer, they'll tell you. I remember years ago, 1966, I think it was the first year, it doesn't matter, 65, 66, right? It was the first year that Pontiac came out with an overhead cam engine.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't buy a cam. They were blowing them so often. But you go down and no problem at all. You have one in stock, got 3 of them. You down there to pick up the cam. They're all gone. By the time you get down there.
Sure.
Now, what does that tell you? That what happened that particular model, as I recall, the front cam didn't get any oil delivered.
Sure.
They just burn them right up. Well, they finally, at least on my car, I modified it to shoot oil into that front cam and no more problem.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in a circumstance like that, yeah, I think they've got some very serious responsibility. But if one cam went on every how many thousands of cars, hey, something's going to happen to cars.
So pretty much, I've done what I could do as far as calling the company and saying, getting on their statistics, and if they get enough of them, they probably would do something about it. But
I got a call from Lincoln. I have an 87 and an 89 Lincoln town cars, and I've forgotten what the nature of it is, but they are both been recalled for something. I got to get them both over to get serviced, and that's those are not new cars.
Sure.
And I got a call maybe 2 months ago, a month and a half ago, on the 89. And I asked him about the 87. He said, "Oh, yeah, that one too." So they I guess they try, I think.
I guess, the nature of this defect where it snaps the steering wheel, that's what bothers me.
But you see, you're saying defect.
Well, what it was, where the bolt goes through the washer, that part had rusted away so that
Yeah, but things do go wrong with. If you're telling me that 1 in 10, that's a defect.
Yeah.
If you're telling me 1 in 10,000, those are nothing is not going to wear out in some circumstance.
Sure.
That's what I'm trying to get to. I do wish you well, Guy. I'm Bruce Williams. And by the way, there is an 800 number the feds have and I wish I had it. Well, I'm not an 800 directory anyway, but there's an 800 number that the feds operate that will give you whatever recalls are operative within a certain time frame. You might want to try that. This is Talknet. We go down to Charleston, South Carolina, to see what's happening. Hello there.
Hello, Bruce. Thank you for taking my call.
You're very, very welcome,
baby. This is the first time I'm calling you, and I've been listening to you for years. I have a problem.
I kind of thought so.
Okay. We bought a television set. We paid...
Bite your tongue on television.
It's one of those big projection screens.
Yeah, but I mean, this is radio. You should have bought a big radio. We wouldn't have this problem. Okay, bought a big TV. Go for it.
Okay. All right. We paid $22.95 for it.
That's a good price.
Okay. So we bought it on the 2nd of January, and they delivered it on the 3rd, and yesterday it was in the newspaper that they closed 2 stores. And one of these stores where we bought the TV. They're the same company.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Now, today, this was in the paper yesterday. Mm-hmm. Today, my son was in the store looking around because he's interested in things like that. And he noticed that our set was slashed down to $17.67.
Yep. So that's life. I know you don't like it, but that's life.
Okay, it's okay. Just as long as I know that if there isn't anything we can do, I can accept that. But if there is... There's
nothing that I know.
Really?
You're saying they're going out of business, right?
Right.
Or closing a store down.
Well, when I say they're going out of... Okay, this... it's a big, major corporation, okay?
Right.
And this is probably one of their... whatever you call them.
A branch or what?
Yes, it's a branch.
Okay, and they're closing up, so they're having a sale.
Yeah.
And you got there one day too early.
Okay, all right. Just as long as I know there's nothing we can do, I can accept
Now you can go back and ask. You can talk to them, but I think they're
my son was in there and he says we just got this set 2 days ago. Can we get our money? He says no. Now, it could have been a fellow right behind the counter. I don't know.
That's true. And also, now let me ask you this now. What if any, are the return privileges in that, with that, not necessarily with that particular unit, but what does that store offer?
Well, my husband was just noticing on the slip, it said, I don't know if it means anything, but it says satisfaction guaranteed.
I'd go back to them and tell them you want to return the set.
I know, my husband thought of that too, but I hate to give it up.
Well, then give it up and go back and buy one for $1,700.
Oh, I see.
Now, I don't know if that's going to fly, but I'd sure give it a shot.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll try that.
Go back and talk to them and see what their return. Maybe they'll say it's only for a store credit. Well, fine, you'll take the store credit.
Even though they're going out of business?
Oh, no, didn't you tell me they're closing 1 or 2 stores, not the whole...
No, the only 2 stores... See, I'm afraid what I can say, what I cannot say on the radio.
Well, we can edit it out in a hurry, just be careful.
Okay. They're closing 2 stores that are the only 2 stores here.
No, wait, you just added a little word called here.
In Charleston.
Well, that doesn't... Look, dear. The fact that they're closing up in your state does not mean they're going out of business. That's what I'm trying to get to.
Oh, I see.
You know, if the A&P company closes down some, or Federated is closing down some of their stores, they're not going out of business. Now,
well, it would make it a lot easier if I just told you, but
go ahead, tell me.
It's a Tandy. And then do you want the name of the store?
Tandy, T-A-N-D-Y?
Yeah, the Radio Shack.
That's Radio Shack.
Yeah, but it's not the Radio Shack. We bought it from the store called Video Concepts, which is from a Tandy. You know, it is a Tandy store. And now they're saying...
In other words, you're telling me it's owned by Tandy.
Right.
And they're just going to close some of those stores.
Right. And now Radio Shack is going to be doing the services.
Well, I can't... I don't... The fact is that Tandy... used to be Tandy Leather Company, if you're interested. They used to be in the arts and crafts business. Radio Shack was kind of a little bastard cousin, and all of a sudden that took over and the leather stores went away. But that's another program. They're a very reliable company, been around for a long time. I believe they're based in Texas someplace.
Okay, yeah, I think so too.
Now, the fact is that I don't know if they have a return privilege. The fact that store is closing doesn't put that company out of business or anything like it.
Right.
So you want, if you want to go back and see if you can return it, and then buy, that's not you'd be the first one that's done that. Whether you have a right to do that is another question. And suppose you do. Suppose they say only store credit, you still take it. I don't think there's a chain on your leg that says you can't get out of Charleston. If you had a $600 credit, you'd go someplace else and use it someday.
Oh, you mean take the credit and go, even if we have to go somewhere else and get the...
Yes, ma'am.
I see.
Wouldn't that be better than nothing?
Okay, now we'll say we go to the store and like you said, a quote, a fellow behind the counter, okay? Now,
go talk to the manager.
Talk to the manager.
Ask what their return privilege is. That's what. Or the return policy, excuse me. I wish you well, dear.
Okay, thanks a million.
You're very welcome. That happens regularly, though. People will walk into a store to buy something. Next day it's on sale. Well, some organizations will tell you that they honor their sale prices kind of retroactively. Others do not. I don't know if there's any obligation to do that. Look at around Christmas time. My goodness. You buy something on December 23rd, you pick a number, $50. December 26th, they have a half-price sale. If you want to wait till the day after Christmas, you'd be surprised what you can do. I'm Bruce Williams. Glad you're here. This is Talknet. WHJJ Country. It's called Providence, Rhode Island. Hello there.
Hello, Mr. Williams. Thank you very much for taking my call.
You're most welcome. What's on your mind?
Well, I'm a long-time listener, and I really respect your opinion, so here we go.
Let's do it, baby.
Okay. My parents have 2 old cars that they would like to get rid of and go down to 1 car that they would probably lease. I'm not sure, but I think that's what they would do.
Can I ask why?
Well, why what?
Why are they going to lease?
Well, because one reason is that the taxes here in Rhode Island are very high on the cars.
The taxes are going to be paid no matter how you slice it. It's added in someplace. Directly or indirectly.
Well, also the second reason is that they might not be able to afford to pay, the purchase price of a car as opposed to leasing it.
All right. Go ahead.
All right. My question is, they started out by trying to sell their big car, which is a 1987, am I allowed to use the brand name?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, 1987 Fleetwood Brougham, has 86,000 miles on it, and it does need to have about $1,000 worth of body work done to it. And we've been trying to sell this for a couple of months, and we received an offer which I have doubts about. I am not selling it directly. We are doing this through a gas station that's been helping us. And the offer we got for the car was $2,750. Now, I called a Cadillac dealership tonight, and they gave me a very different figure. And my question is, what do you think?
What did they give you?
They said that if it were in perfect condition, it would be $5,500.
Which it is not.
Right. So they said $4,500.
No way.
No way?
No way. Not my opinion.
No.
They're going by the NADA book. And you got an 87,000 mile piece. It's an 88, was it, or 87?
87.
No, I don't see that worth that kind of money or anything like it.
No.
And you're selling it, and if you're not going to get the retail price when you're selling it yourself. Furthermore, you got a beat up car.
Do you think it would be smarter for us just to take both cars to the dealer and try to see if we could work out a deal with the dealer? Or
Probably not.
Probably not?
Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll probably do as well on your own the way you're doing it.
You think
well,
so?
You could try it and find what they offer you.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if the dealer wants good used cars because they can make as much or more on the used car as they can on the new car. But you haven't described so far a good used car. This will probably go to the auction where he's going to wholesale it.
Well, it's not all beat up or anything. I mean, it's
well, you told me it needs $1,000 worth of damage.
Well, that's
repairs.
What I'm not. See, Bruce, that's the problem. I'm not sure that I'm getting the straight story
well,
from the guy at the gas station.
Well, what's wrong with the car?
Well, it has a big dent in the right fender, and apparently there's some more work that needs to be done to the fender, and that's all I know of.
Well, what's the other car they're trying to get rid of?
An 85 Cimarron with 55,000 miles on it.
You're telling me they can't afford a new car?
No. I mean, right, yes, I am telling you that.
Well, then why are they getting rid of the 85 with only 55,000 miles on it?
Well, because it just isn't running that great.
Well, but why not put a few bucks in that? And let it run. Get rid of the old, the one that's beat up. And put that money that they receive from that into the 85. Get it fixed up, tuned up, in great shape. I mean, it's great if they can afford a new car, and I'd applaud that. But if you tell me they can't afford it, they'd be far better off to take the proceeds of the one sale and get the other car put in first-class condition. No payments, no collision insurance. Not a bad deal. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. What do you figure your loss was?
Oh, it's really hard to say.
Well, you're going to have to say. I mean, if you want to talk about this.
Well, I mean, it's worth more to me than it is. You know, if I went out and replaced everything, you know,
it doesn't tell us very much.
I'd be happy with $1,000.
Well, I would go talk to them. I don't think they had a right to take that without letting you know.
No, I agree. I received no phone calls or anything, and it was very obvious from the contents of the unit that it was still being occupied.
Well, you see, that's you say that. I don't know if that's true.
Okay.
How do you prove that?
It's a subjective thing.
No,
but
that's the whole problem. It is subjective. Stop right there.
Yeah.
That's part of the problem. I go talk to the people that make the decisions, not the resident manager.
Okay, well, I have her supervisor's phone number here, but it was after business hours when I got that, and I could not get a hold of him.
I'd go talk to him, her, it. See what they have to say. I mean, it would appear to me that that's, they had no right to do what they did. That would be my... If you paid them on December 31st, I don't see how they had the right to wander in there and start taking your stuff.
Yeah, well, like I said, I paid late in December.
No, I know, we've gone through that. I understand that.
But after I figured 3 days was a little bit.
I don't know if they accepted it, and you also they extended the 30 days. They did that to you for December. You had no reason to believe they wouldn't do that in January.
Exactly.
Well, that's the point I'd make. I do wish you well, Guy.
Thank you very much, Bruce. You have a fantastic show. I wish I had thought about it.
Thanks, Guy. I'm Bruce Williams.
Everything would be easier as far as the amounts that we both paid towards the car, and now I am.
Well, you see, but cars should never be financed for 5 years. If you have to finance it for 5 years, you can't afford it to begin with. That's part of the problem, you see.
Yeah.
I don't know how to help you with that.
Well, my accountant has suggested that she thought that maybe I should try and pay from the $64,000, like pay half of the car off and refinance it.
I wouldn't do that.
She was trying to. Her reasoning for that was so that I would be able to make palatable payments according to my income.
Well, given that set of conditions, why not just pay the car off and have no payments?
Okay, well, the other part of the issue is where to live and how to live, and that would be, do I never having acquired any property before, I was thinking about buying a condo till I heard you talk last night to the people about buying a condo. And
well, what did I say that turned you off? Tell me.
I think it was one that you had owned that you said you had lost.
Listen. Oh, absolutely. I still, but listen, don't let that discourage you. But you see, there's a perception among many people that you buy property, it goes up just as sure as the sun comes up in the east. Well, that's just not true anymore. You can win and you can lose, but that isn't. So what I've tried to the point I'm trying to get across, however poorly, is that buying a home should be, the motivation should be not how much money can I earn. Rather, is this the lifestyle that I want and can afford? Now, I got to take a little time out here. If you want to hang in, we'll talk when I get back.
All right.
I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around. This is Talknet. I'm chatting with a young lady in Rochester, New York. Effectively, the first time she's sort of been alone in the world. Is that about the size of it?
Yes. I was divorced and was a single mom for quite a while, and then went right from that into living with my dad. So yeah, I am sort of very alone.
Okay. Well, we're sitting around. We're just chatting a little bit about the ways to kind of get her life back together. Now, add it all up. How much money is your dad going to leave behind? Let's do it that way, because we've had so many of these numbers chucked all over the place.
Yeah. Okay.
About. So I'm not going to hold you to the nickel, but let's just get a real quick picture here.
Probably about. Let's see.
About. Real quick. No, we haven't.
About maybe 60 altogether.
All right, fine. Let's make it 60. Now, everything in the car, whatever other numbers. How much do you owe right now?
I owe for the whole entire car minus one payment.
No, all of it. How much is that?
And
what'd you pay for the car?
It was $16,900, financed for 5 years.
No, but forget about the finance. $17,000 car. What else?
Right, and I have let's see, about a $1,300 credit card.
What else?
Nothing other than.
Let's assume with taxes, everything. You have maybe a $20,000 liability.
Right.
I'd start out clean if I were you. Get rid of all that. Then you'll have no payments to worry about for a while. Nothing. Nada, and also zero. You're still going to wind up with I'm being very conservative now, you'll notice.
Right.
You're going to wind up with $30,000 in cash, maybe a lot, maybe more than that. Do you have any other savings?
No.
None. Zero zip.
Zip.
Okay. Now, you got to live somewhere. I wouldn't race out and buy a condo or anything of that sort. I'd stay. What is your rent where you are now?
It's $825, and
that's way too much for you to pay.
I know. Plus the utilities, it's about $1,100 a month.
Oof. Get out of there as quick as you possibly can. Now, can you find a place a lot more reasonable? Renting, how much? What would be? What is this? Probably a 2 or 3 bedroom apartment you have now, whatever.
Yeah, we have a 3-bedroom townhouse.
Okay. We don't need all that now. We need a 1-bedroom pad, right?
Yeah.
How much can you rent a place like that for?
I'm guessing probably $500 to $600.
Well, the low number is the number it's got to be. I'm telling you, on your income, I would let the dust settle and rent a place for no more, and maybe a little less than 5 you can find somewhere, because that's what you can afford on your income. Then, what would it cost to purchase a condo currently in your area?
They're going for around between $75,000 and $80,000.
Well, you can't afford a $75,000 or $80,000 condo.
That's what I was thinking.
Not today, not tomorrow, not 2 weeks from tomorrow. You can't.
Well, the thought was either not, pay off all these debts.
Yeah, but that doesn't change anything.
Well, I thought that way it might give me like around 40 or so to put down on a condo.
But then you're still got all these obligations to pay. It doesn't change anything. Matter of fact, you see, you have to understand it diminishes your ability, because I don't know any place that you are going to earn as much money as you are being charged for the various ways you borrow money. And on top of that, any money that you earn is going to be taxed. And there is no deduction for the money that you're paying in terms of interest.
Right.
So you're sprinting in 2 directions at one time.
So you're thinking clean everything up.
I don't think there's any question about that. I'd clean up.
And no buying of anything.
And right now, you're not going to buy anything because you simply can't afford it. Now, you might be able to make a deal on a duplex. where this way you would have, I understand responsibility, but you'd also have some income. What would it cost to buy a decent duplex in your part of the world?
I have no idea what the market would be.
Well, why don't you pick up the classified this weekend and start finding out?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you could pick up a duplex for, let's say, 100, for the sake of discussion, and you could rent one side for, say, 7, which is not an unreasonable number. I'm trying to stay conservative again. You could afford that.
Would I ever be able to get financing for that?
With the income, if the area is known for being stable and rentals are not real common, I don't see why not.
Mm-hmm.
You got a shot at that. Let's assume we can find one for 100. For the sake of this discussion, we put 25 of that remaining number, that cash yours. You're clean, no obligations. We put $25,000 down. That's a 25% down payment. You have a $75,000 mortgage, which would be very tight on your income, but we just increased your income by, in the case I just get, $8,400 a year.
I see. Mm-hmm.
That would be very doable and also very smart.
Would you suggest waiting for a few years to do that? And
No, I think you could do that now. I'd start looking. Now, I don't know if my numbers are any good. May cost more. You might not be able to find one.
Yeah.
But at least tomorrow, over the weekend, I would be talking to real estate people, and I would be taking a look at the classifieds and see what kind of duplexes are available.
Okay.
That would make a whole lot more sense. I'm also giving you an extra job. I'm sorry about that. But what the heck?
I'm used to it.
That's what it's all about. I do wish you well, baby.
Thank you.
Thank you for your call. I believe we're going to Cincinnati and say hello. Hey, Cincy, are you there?
Yes, sir, I am.
Are you in the middle of an ice storm?
Right in the middle of it.
Yeah, boy, I'll tell everybody I talk to in the Midwest.
Yeah, it's no fun.
What's on your mind?
I've got a labor dispute here I need a little bit of guidance on.
Well, you got to stop beating your wife. You wouldn't have that problem.
My employer is in the process of downsizing. And
Isn't that a great word, downsizing?
Yeah, that's a popular word these days. The situation I'm involved in is that I am in the process of being laid off in May.
All right. What do you do?
I work for a communications company.
Well, specifically, what do you do?
Engineering.
Okay.
Okay. What happened is you have two options when you get laid off. Actually, my time was up in April 15th to be exact, of 94. You have two options.
No, what was April 15th of 94?
That was my layoff date.
94?
Yes.
A year ago?
Yes. You have two options. Either you can take a lump sum payment, or you can have your weekly paycheck given to you in allotments, a week at a time.
Are we talking retroactively here, or hypothetically, or what? Or did this actually
happen? What happens is, if you choose to take your pay weekly, you are still shown as an active employee with the company. Okay? And that is what I have chosen to do.
Okay.
My problem is that the company has given a raise to the employees that were the same status I was, and they've also been given a profit sharing allotment since I've been on this program, which I have not received either one.
Well, if you're effectively laid off, it'd be unusual to give you a raise.
Well,
what they're doing, I think. Now, please correct me if I'm mistaken. It sounds like to me they're paying you on the installment plan.
Well, what they're doing,
and you probably got to keep your benefits during that period of time too.
Yes, I kept everything.
Yeah.
And that's what my problem is that this is their program. I mean, they've elected to do this. They've given us the option, and they want to keep us shown as active employees. If you call that company today and ask for my employment status, they will tell you that I'm an active employee. But they choose not to give us all the benefits of an active employee.
I think you're asking for a lot more than I'd be prepared to give if I were on their time.
I don't think so.
Well, why would you? It's what you say. They choose to keep you as an active employee.
Yes.
Do you see some benefit to them for that?
Say that again.
Do you see some benefit in that for them?
Oh, for for them, sure, because they have built in their own temporary employment agency where they can call you back to work as a temporary employee.
And pay you extra.
Yes.
I'm missing something. They're a lot more generous than most employers. How long, you got laid off in April,
Yeah,
how long?
Say that, but we've also contributed a lot more than others employees have contributed to companies, through divestiture and everything else.
Without regard to all that. You work for one of the phone companies?
Yes.
Without regard to all that. There's no guarantee of employment in this country. No. Unless you have a contract. And neither is there.
Still no guarantee because I was under contract.
Well, but neither is there. Well, wait, it cuts both ways. Neither is there any requirement that you stay with a company. In other words, the company can invest a ton of money in an employee. And the guy can say, I'm taking my skills to a competitor. And there's nothing that you can do. It just happened to me with an employee that we had invested a ton of money in. And then the competitor offered more money, and bam, they were gone.
Right.
And my investment in that employee is right down the toilet. It cuts both ways, is what I'm trying to get to.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how long is your payment? How long do they keep you on this active status?
Depends on how many years service you've got.
Well, how many for you?
For me, it's 52 weeks.
A year.
Yes.
So they gave you a year's severance. How long were you there?
20 years.
So they gave you 5% a year is what it comes down to. Plus the benefits and whatever. Now, how much would they have given you in cash?
How much? Let me see. Probably would have been about $35,000.
How much do you make a year?
About $35,000.
Oh, you got a hell of a deal, in my opinion. I'm sorry that you got laid off. I mean that sincerely. But they pay you for a year and give you the benefits, which is another $8,000 or $9,000. I'm Bruce for Talknet. Lawton, Oklahoma. Hello there.
No, good evening, Bruce.
Good evening.
How are you this evening?
Everything's cool. What's on your mind, guy?
I'm having a little problem with an insurance claim I have.
What kind of a claim?
I had a slight auto accident. A gentleman, the wind took his door as he opened it, and it hit the fender of my car.
Mm-hmm.
And the door wouldn't open after that. And so
what door wouldn't open? Hold on.
Got damaged.
Hold it. What door wouldn't open?
The passenger door.
Your door wouldn't open?
My door.
After his door hit yours?
After it hit my fender, the door would not clear.
Well, that must have been some whap.
Well, the wind here blows.
Blows most places. All right, go ahead.
And I brought it to their office. They offered me.
Hold it. Take a deep breath.
Okay.
You were making a claim against his insurance company,
yeah,
or your own?
His insurance company.
All right.
And I brought it to their claims office.
Mm-hmm.
They took their pictures, put it in their computer, offered to pay me $460 for the damage, and $60 for a rental car. And then they called me 2 hours later and said they would only pay half.
And why did they change their mind?
They said they talked to their insured, and the insured said he didn't cause that much damage, and there was damage prior.
Was there?
No.
I mean, old damage is generally recognizable by a professional unless it happened the day before.
It happened 4 days. It was on New Year's Eve.
What I'm trying to get to is old damage generally has its own signature. A little bit of rust spots and that sort of thing. Now, there was no old damage that you know of. Is that correct?
Sir.
And they're basing all this on what their insured says.
He says he has to go with his insured, and that's all he's going to pay me.
Well, you tell him that's terrific. I'll see. What you do is take the insured to small claims court, not the insurance company.
The insured?
Well, you don't have any claim on the insurance company.
Well, this is true.
You have no claim, no relationship with the insurance company. They're nothing to you, and you're nothing to them.
Okay.
But what you do have is a claim against the other party.
Okay.
Now, their job. Do you understand the relationship with the insurance company?
Yes, but see, I have a problem with that because I'm a member of the military services.
What's that got to do with anything?
And I can't bring a claim against another military member.
Why?
Because that is one of the military rules. It would have to be done through military chains.
I don't believe that. You're telling me that if two guys in what branch of the service you're in?
I'm in the Army.
Okay, I'm in the Navy. I come running down the street and ram into you. You can't sue me in civil court?
This is what I was told at legal within the Army.
I find that very hard to believe. Maybe you're right, but I find that hard to believe.
So your best suggestion to me is...
Well, hold on just a minute. I mean, let's talk about this for a moment.
Okay.
It would be patently unreasonable that just because you're a member of the military that you give up your civil rights. And your civil right is to bring an action against someone who injures you. I don't care if a general runs over a private. Does that mean... What rank are you?
I'm an E4.
All right, so if an E5 does damage, you can't touch him because he outranks you? It's absurd. Hang on a minute. I know we've got a bunch of military people out there because we hit a lot of places where you guys are working. Why don't you hold on?
Oh, okay, sir.
Here's a guy, very simply, had a little fender bender. The insurance company doesn't want to make an amicable settlement, and obviously your recourse under ordinary conditions would be sue the other guy. In this case, it'd be a small claims action. It's a few bucks. But this gentleman, the sergeant's telling me that he can't sue the other guy because he is also a troop. Is that possible? And if so, what venue would settle the matter? Otherwise, all I got to do is, well, at my age, I don't think you're going to have me, but you join the military, and it's open season, and anybody else that has a troop suit. That's hard to believe. If you can help solve this conundrum, the number is 703-413-8381. Let me do that again. 703-413-8381. I have to believe there's somebody from the judge advocate's office or who has military legal experience. I'd like to know about it. 703-413-8381. Come on, guys, don't let me down. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. I'm chatting with a young fellow in Lawson, Oklahoma. He's a member of the armed forces. Got a little fender bender with another trooper, and is told he can't sue the guy because they're both members of the military. I find that difficult to believe. I have an attorney from Omaha, Nebraska. Hello there.
Hi.
Hi.
Say, I don't know how much help I can give you here, but I defend employment discrimination suits, and about 3 years ago, I had a bank that I was defending as well as an individual who was a pretty high-ranking member of the Army Reserve and was called up to Desert Storm, and he was named as an individual defendant in this sex harassment suit. And I filed a motion to stay the suit against him during that time because he was a member of active duty. In my recollection of the statute, believe me, this is only one time that I've ever been involved with that issue. You had to be involved in some nature of combat or something where your attention was necessarily focused on your military duties. And once he returned and was back in the States, even though he was still on active duty, he was then amenable to suit at that time. So I agree with you. I have a real hard time believing that because these folks are have an obligation to the military that they then suspend their right to sue each other.
It'd be a great place to become judgment-proof.
Yeah, I tell you what, we could probably do a lot of planning for some debtors and so forth in that circumstance.
Indeed.
But that's as much as I could do to help you on that. There is a military court and so forth, and but that generally I don't think that requires you to have civil actions of that nature present within the military code. I think if there's certain criminal actions that are committed at that time, they might be able to limit it to that area. But I'm sure there's probably some practitioners out there that do more in this area. That's at least what I know. And
well, Counselor, thank you for taking the time. You have a great weekend. I really appreciate your comments. Dayton, hello there.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm a member of the Air Force JAG Corps.
Uh-huh.
I've been a lawyer in the Air Force. I'm an officer for the last 8 years.
You mean they make lawyers officers?
Well, yes, they do.
Scandalous.
Oh, not really.
I'm only kidding, guy.
Well, okay. I think I know where the E4, or how he's come to the conclusion that he has.
Mm-hmm.
And until recently, it has been the law that military pay could only be garnished for a couple specific reasons. I mean, federal taxes and child support and spousal support.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and military pay could not be garnished for general civil judgments.
Okay.
And so, based on that, one could come to the conclusion that there's no point in suing a military member for any type of any other type of civil action because you could not garnish their pay.
Mm-hmm.
But let me just tell you that the law, Congress changed the law, and it went into effect just 2 days ago, is what I was told at our recent staff meeting, that now military pay can be garnished for any type of civil judgment. So it's not just the taxes or the child or spousal support, but any type of civil judgment.
Well, in this circumstance, a garnishment would be probably not necessary because he is appropriately insured, and if the sergeant prevails in court, then the Danville. Hello there, that's Danville, Virginia. What's on your mind?
How you doing, Bruce?
I'm doing very nicely, thank you.
Long-time listener. I've really enjoyed your advice over the years.
Well, thank you, Guy.
What I'm looking at is I'm looking at buying a home. I'm a single individual, and I was looking at a modular versus a conventional home, and I want to know your opinion of that.
Well, look, can we back way up?
Okay.
How old are you?
29.
You're single?
Yes, sir.
Why are you buying it? And there's nothing wrong, but I'm just curious as to your motivation.
Well, I've lived in an apartment. I've lived in a condo now, and I just, I've heard your advice concerning single people buying homes. You recommend a duplex and.
You've anticipated me, you rascal.
Yes.
You rascal. Yeah, go ahead.
So, but I just want a house.
All right. There's nothing immoral, illegal, or fattening about that, kid.
So, what I'm looking at is, modular homes are what I looked at was real nice, but I wanted to look at the appreciation value of a modular home first.
No matter what I say, I'm going to get in trouble.
Okay.
Because I'm going to have there are two very distinct sides to this issue. The guy in the modular home business is going to tell you, and I'm sure he fully believes it, and he may be right, that the modular home will appreciate just as quickly as the so-called stick-built house.
Yes.
The conventional builders are going to tell you absolutely untrue, that the modulars have a lot of problems, and so on and so forth. And some of the criticism about the problems is accurate, some is not. And it depends in some measure on what you're looking for. But I think you're having you got not a problem is not the best choice of terms, but your mindset is such that you're looking at this as, well, this is an investment that it's going to grow and so forth. Is that, well, that's just not necessarily true.
Okay.
The days of surefire, buy a house and it's going to go up in value are over. Now, maybe, or at least they're on a long hiatus. They may not be over, but they're sure out to lunch.
Okay.
What I'm trying to get to is maybe the house will go up. I hope it does for your sake. But what you ought to be buying is the house that is best suited. Look, let's face it. You don't have to have a house at 29 and single.
No, I don't.
Okay. Nothing wrong with that. My son is about a little older than you are, and he's got his own place. That's the way it should be if that's what he wants, right? However, you want to pick a house that, because that's what you want, as opposed to need, pick one that you like. Something that suits you.
Okay.
The neighborhood, the style. I don't know. It may be that you have absolute aversion to walking upstairs.
No?
No, I'm saying you might. Okay. Well, then a ranch would be certainly appropriate for you, wouldn't it?
I would love a ranch.
Okay, but then on the other side of that, you might say, gee, I like the look of a sunken living room and whatever. Well, a split would maybe be the place for you to go. Or you may say, all of my life, my mom and dad and the rest of us kids, we lived in this two-family house, and I miss having a bedroom upstairs and the action downstairs. Then you want to get a more traditional up-and-down house. But those are the variables I think I'd be looking at if I were you.
Okay.
How much do you earn?
All said and done, about $40,000 a year.
And how much do you plan on spending for a house?
I was looking at somewhere around $85,000.
Okay. If you went module, you'll be buying a new house.
Yes.
The chances are, now this is not true everywhere, but it's probably a fair statement for most of us. You can get more bang for your buck buying an existing home.
Okay.
Now, if you're not in a hurry, you don't have a cannon stuck in your ear, what you want to be looking for is somebody who just got transferred, somebody who has to move, maybe somebody who's a little bit of financial bind. Get pre-approved. Get your mortgage pre-approved. then you can move real quick. You're a serious type buyer, and you can do some bottom fishing.
Okay.
And that, I think, makes a lot of sense.
That sounds real good to me.
Nothing wrong with bottom fishing.
All right.
All right, Guy.
Well, I certainly appreciate it, Bruce.
And thanks for anticipating me, you rascal.
I listen to you all the time, so I know what you're going to say.
All right, kid.
All right.
We'll do it again.
All right. Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome. Danny, where are we going now? Kansas City, Missouri. I know you told me, Dan, but I'm not responsible. Hello there, Kansas City. How are you?
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm just fine, thanks.
Greetings
I'm getting picked on by big old
Midwest.
Pardon me?
Greetings from the cold and snowy Midwest.
Hey, I understand the whole Midwest is getting belted.
Yes, they are.
Snow and ice and other nasty four-letter words.
You got it. No, actually, I have been listening to you since I started on the night shift in February, and I've been very, very well informed. You are the answer man.
Well, thank you very much. Let's hope we can help you. What's on your mind?
Well, actually, I am, in addition to working where I do, I am a musician.
What do you do?
I'm sorry?
What instrument?
I play bass guitar.
Okay.
Electric bass. And
rock and roll is your life, yes.
Oh, yes. And anyway, a couple of months ago, I decided to get a new guitar, and I went ahead and put it in layaway. A total price of $875. And along the way, I decided that I didn't need my old amplifier head, and I decided to trade it in, and give the credit towards my layaway.
Did they accept trade-ins?
Yeah. Okay. As a matter of fact, they did. $250 worth. I took it up there, they played through it, and it was in perfect working condition. As a matter of fact, 2 weeks prior to that, I had it cleaned on the inside and out and reupholstered, I guess you would say. Anyway, they accepted it. They gave me this receipt, received in trade my amplifier head towards my layaway. And this all happened this past Monday. And on Tuesday, they called me and said that my amplifier was making a lot of noise, and one of the knobs had broken to where it spins. It doesn't stop, on the...
Did they try to test the amplifier before they had took it as a trade?
Yes, sir. As a matter of fact, they did. I overheard, he was playing through it while I was standing there. He was playing with all the knobs and, doing his thing. And went and talked to his manager and told him, it sounds fine, what do you want to give him for it? And they gave me $250 credit. And I have the receipt. He initialed it. And
I got you. So now they want to take this away from me, I take it.
Yeah. And, they want me to pay to have it repaired. And they said they can't sell it in this condition.
Well, I think that's their problem.
You think so?
How much would it cost to get it repaired?
About $75 to $100.
I think that's their problem. Look, brought down to its essence, you took a piece of equipment as, we're going to call you an amateur for the sake of this discourse.
Yeah, okay.
Well, you are.
Yes.
You're not a dealer. You took it to a dealer. Dealer, by definition, is a professional. Can we agree on that?
Yes.
All right. Dealer then tested the equipment. I mean, you just don't take the stuff a black box and say, what the hell? What does it? No, he tested it, and in his opinion, at that time, it was fine.
Right.
Well, he did a deal. The deal is done. I don't think he has a right to ask you for a penny, not a ruble. And I wouldn't pay him a penny or a ruble. I'd tell him just that way, nicely but firmly. I'm Bruce. This is Talknet. We go down to Brewster, New York. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce.
How
I
are you
enjoy
doing?
your program a lot.
Well, thank you.
I'm at my wit's end, and hopefully you can help.
One wit coming up, kid.
I live in an apartment complex. For 5 years, a man and his wife lived across the hall from us. And needless to say, we didn't get along. It's one of those neighbors don't get along kind of deals.
What was the reason? Or was there a reason?
I don't think there was any one reason. He's kind of a malicious kind of character. He would put notes on people's cars and kick over cat food and kind of stuff like that. Nobody really liked him around here.
Kick over cat food, huh?
Yeah, so we kind of kept to ourselves, stayed away from him. About a month before he moved, which was last April, we started to get mail, unsolicited mail, just literature, magazine subscriptions and things. And I just thought it was a mistake, didn't put two and two together.
Well, hold on now. You mean, there's a difference between unsolicited mail that you chuck in the garbage and a magazine subscription.
Well, we were getting it all. We were getting collector plates.
Well, okay, somebody was ordering stuff.
Somebody was, right. And I didn't correlate in my mind that it was him necessarily. But after about 2 months of this, then he left town, and now they live in northern Florida as of last May. To this day, I'm continuing to get about 10 pieces of mail a day. And we were able to trace some of the telephone invoices, which companies retained with their monthly telephone service. We were able to...
With the 800, if they call an 800 number, you mean?
Yes, that's correct.
A lot of people don't realize that the calling number appears on the company's bill.
That's right. With the case of one bottled water company, for example, they were able to trace a day and a time of day to when a water cooler was ordered for me. And when they got their phone invoice, it indicated that the same day and time of day, his home Florida phone number was used. We've also retrieved some of the mail-in cards where he would do a tear-out of the magazine kind of thing, fill out my name and address in a printed handwriting. We did it when he lived here, and now we've gotten them from northern Florida, and same printed handwriting. The problem, Bruce, is we've gone all the legal gamut. We've called anything from the postal inspector, Maine Fraud Division. They sent him a kind of bland form letter, and we asked them, they told him that it's against the law pretty much, that a complaint was made. They didn't mention names. But I asked them, what happens if he continues to do this? And they said they don't follow up on it. They never prosecute a misdemeanor of this minor type. We've been in touch with police. Basically, the fraud postal inspector told me that they suggested that I move as a remedy for this problem.
You gotta be kidding.
And I've lived here for 20 years.
I would give you live for 20 minutes. What a stupid argument that is.
Well, that's kind of disheartening. And the final advice was that I contact an attorney and sue this man civilly.
That might be not a bad idea.
Well, my problem, Bruce, is that I'm on a disability, and my income, it would almost have to be pro bono.
No, it wouldn't. It would have to be on a contingency basis.
Right. I'm not sure what I would sue him for. I'm not sure he has anything.
Well, you're being harassed.
Yeah.
Why would he be doing all this? I mean, he really had a hair when... It's one thing when he lived across the hall, but here he is, however many miles away, and continuing to do it. He must have really had it in for you. Why?
Well, we've talked about this a lot here amongst ourselves, Bruce, and we came to the conclusion that a reasonable person, when they moved 1,500 miles away, would get on with their life and forget about us.
But that doesn't answer my question. I want to know why he was so angry with you.
We had a couple of face-to-face confrontations, and they probably had to do with the fact that he was generally malicious toward us in indirect ways. You know, it was one of those, you could never prove it was him kind of things, but everybody in the neighborhood knew it was him.
We're back, but you're not answering my question.
Yeah.
Why?
I do not know.
Really? You don't know why? I mean, he obviously, maybe I'm jumping here. The likelihood is, it would appear he didn't do this for everybody in your building, did he?
I don't know if he did this, but he did put notes on people's cars.
No, I'm talking about, forget that.
Okay.
I'm talking about this sending in for stuff and magazines, and he didn't do this to everybody.
I don't believe so, no.
No, then why you?
I honestly don't know.
You can't think of it.
If I can, I'll give you a 2-second description of something. Why this, I can't answer your question directly. I came up the stairs one day, he came out of his door and said, I want to talk to you. You confronted my wife yesterday. She was getting the mail, and you badmouthed her. And I looked him right in the face and said, what the heck are you talking about? And he stood there and said she had complained to him that I had said something. And Bruce, as I live and breathe, I never even saw his wife that day.
Well, no, that might be part of the problem. His old lady may be saying stuff that sets him off. Which in no way excuses what he's doing, but that may be the reason.
Well, what's happened is, as of May, as I said, they've been gone, and I have done nothing to retaliate. I've kept my cool. I know where he lives. I haven't sent him mail. I haven't contacted him, and there's been nothing provocative on my part. He's just not letting go of this. So I said, I've got to call Bruce and see if
why don't you, no, I'm not sure you can do that, but why don't you do this?
Yeah.
Why don't you go to the post office and tell them you want explain the circumstance, and that you want a post office box. And only mail that comes to the box is to be delivered to you. Nothing that says, and then you have to, now you're going to have to notify the electric company, the gas company, everybody else who you want to get mail from, that your new address must be addressed P.O. Box something or other.
Okay.
That way, anything that's addressed to this, the street address will be automatically returned to the sender.
I see. That doesn't sound too bad. One of the things he's doing quite frequently, Bruce, is the magazine subscriptions.
Well, fine. It'll never get to you.
Right.
It'll never get to you.
Okay.
But you just want to. But the big thing is you're going to have to go over your Christmas card list, all of your insurance policies and so forth. Notify all these people that it must go to your. Unless mail is correctly addressed, it will not reach you after pick a day, February 1st, something like that.
I was thinking of, one of the suggestions to me was, if not actually prosecuting him, to get an attorney to write him a letter, to show the attorney the evidence I have so that he has a case, and have him write him a letter telling him we basically have this information.
It might scare him a little.
Yeah.
You might do that. If anybody, I'll tell you, I want you to hold on, because I've got to take a little break here. If anybody has a better idea, I'm willing to listen. Because I've heard of this happen. It's certainly not unique. But what the remedy, I don't know. Obviously, one of the remedies would be to fight fire with fire, but I'm not sure that I'd recommend that. So if you have a remedy, if you're an attorney or someone in some form of law enforcement or whatever, I mean, I don't want to hear, throw stink bombs through his window. Forget that. Number 703-413-8381. Let me try that again. 703-413-8381. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet.
News Radio 630 KIDO. Talking to you, with you, and about you, it's Bruce Williams.
Mobile, Alabama. Hello there.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing all right. In reference to your last call.
Yes.
I've had a little dealing between Alabama and Florida, chasing down some people that owed money and things like that. And in reference to his problem, what he could do is have an attorney in his state write a letter detailing the problem to the Florida State Attorney General. After that happens, the Florida Attorney General will write him a letter.
What you described a moment ago is called a side yard requirement. You have front, rear, and side yard requirements. It means you can't build, well, you can in some cases, but you have to build within the tolerances described from the property line.
Right.
Some places it's 0. You can build around the property line.
Right.
Well, that's not what I want to know. I want to know what the minimum width of a building lot is.
I don't know. I don't even know.
They have one. They do have one, trust me.
Okay.
If they got a side yard requirement, they definitely have a minimum lot size.
I'm not familiar with that, Bruce. I don't know. I mean, I can find out.
You see, the easiest way it is to sell him a few feet of your land. But if you don't, I know you don't want to do that. You're certainly not required to.
See, that's the thing, Bruce, and this is just heart to heart. I mean, I don't want to be a bad neighbor.
That's not a hold on now, Tommy. It's not a question of a bad neighbor. The question is if it's going to diminish the value of your property because it makes it a non-conforming lot. That's insane. Make him move it, and the court will, in fact, make him move it.
Let me ask you this. This first edition he did, the one that the city did give a permit on in 93, and it's encroaching too, albeit just a few inches. Is the city liable for that? They gave him a permit?
I don't know that because, you see, we don't know if the thing is where it's supposed to be. Right. We don't know if the representation on the application was accurate. There's too many variables there.
Right.
But there's no question that the community has no right to sanctify an encroachment. No question about that.
What do I need to do? Do I need to get another survey from another surveying company? And I would hire an attorney. I don't want to litigate this thing. Let's
take a deep breath. The first thing I would do, and I know it's going to be expensive. What did it cost you to have that line shot?
They only
only charged me $150 because they'd done it 10 years ago and charged me $130, so that was reasonable.
Okay, I think I'd go back and talk to the surveyor and ask that I'm sure it's a certified survey to you. Is that correct?
It is. They've been in business for years.
All right, okay, just take a deep breath. I'd go back and talk to the guy and say, look, we got an encroachment problem here, as you know. Are you absolutely certain that your line is shot right down to the inch? And could I pay you to come out and do it once again to be certain, because there may be litigation? I'm sure the guy will say yeah. The alternative would be to have somebody else come out independent of him.
Yeah.
Which is not such a bad idea.
Yeah.
Okay, now that if we have the encroachment, we got to talk about the other things. I wish I had more time. For example, if the zone only calls for 50 feet width of property, giving up a foot or two and charging him for it might be the easiest way to resolve this. Then he has to get a variance because he doesn't meet the side yard requirements. But if, in fact, it would in any way detract materially from the value of your lot, the hell with him, he's going to have to move his buildings.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. The community can require him to move them.
When you say the community, in other words, the city can, not me.
You can too.
Okay.
But the city should.
See, the city's going to come out now. I mean, the guys already told me they're going to come out with the zoning people Monday. I mean, they're going to issue them tickets and take them to court and everything, which, I mean, I'm not pursuing that. But
No, I understand that. And and that may solve the problem. They make them just take it down.
Yeah.
But if not, then you'll have to go civilly and have an attorney and have the encroachment. You see, the problem is his. I must turn you loose, Tommy. But the problem is his. He has to cure the problem he created. And the only cure that I can think of, other than persuading you to sell him some property and then getting a variance, is to move the additions. And when you do something stupid, sometimes you got to pay. I do wish you well, guy.
Thanks, Bruce.
Okay, kid. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Cincinnati, Ohio. Hello there.
How you doing, Bruce?
I'm doing real well, thank you.
Okay, my wife and I are big fans of yours.
Well, thank you so very much. You guys are getting a little weather, aren't you?
It's a little bit nasty out here.
That's what I said. I was watching the weather maps, and it looks like that.
Ice storms.
Yeah, that's what I heard, right from Cincinnati or from Ohio, Indiana, right in through Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
Nasty.
Yeah.
What's on your mind?
Well, I'll tell you what. I work for the federal government. I'm a meat inspector, and at the plant, one of the plants that I was at, an employee contaminated meat, and I took action.
Contaminated you?
Contaminated meat. Product.
Oh, okay. I think it contaminated you. How do you do that?
No. No, I'm sorry. Contaminated product, and when I took action to retain the product, he lost his temper. To make a long story short, the management fired the employee. This was in June of last year.
Or you say he lost his temper. What did he do?
Well, he sort of flipped out and cursed me out, and the management asked him to apologize. He wouldn't.
Okay, he didn't beat up on you.
For insubordination.
Okay, it was all verbal, though.
Yes.
He didn't lay you low.
No. But then in December, I heard from the company, the food company, that he had filed a consensual commercial lien for damages and breach of office and oath, and he named the food company, the USDA, the manager of the food company, the personnel director of the food company, and myself, and all unknown supervisors of the company and the USDA.
He missed the bread man.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm not sure what a commercial consensual lien is.
Neither am I.
I'm not sure if I should get a lawyer, or I've asked the government to to give me counsel and representation, but is this something?
I think for whatever reason, unless you did something really out of line, did you?
No. In fact, I followed the book to the letter.
Okay.
Actually.
There's not a question in my mind that the government, your employer in this case, has an obligation to defend you. If in fact you can be sued, and I don't know if the government can be sued in this instance without their.
I don't know either, but.
Did you take this to your supervisor?
Yes, and they asked me to. This man who in the lien, he calls himself the Affiant, AFFIANT, and he lists 26 charges. Some of them have to do with the food company. Some of them have to do with me as the inspector.
Well, what do the charges have to do with you as an inspector?
Okay, well, he says that he was attacked by me, which he wasn't.
Well, attack can be verbal.
Yes, and no, I didn't attack him verbally or physically. He said that because he said that I attacked him because he laughed when somebody accidentally sprayed me with water in the plant. And it's not true, but
did you get sprayed with water?
I dodged water a couple of times in the plant, but I can't recall getting hit. I did mention it to the plant manager.
When you say dodged water, I mean somebody deliberately tried to do a number on you?
Well, I can't say it was deliberate. They do a cleanup in there in one section of the plant, and it's a confined space, so you more or less have to move around.
Well, let me rephrase the question. I got you on the witness stand here. I'm really going to give it to you, right?
Okay.
What was, other than the day in question, have you ever had to, quote, dodge water before?
Yes. Yeah, I have.
I was hoping you were going to say yes.
Yes, I dodge water every once in a while. It just happens.
What I'm trying to, is it an ordinary thing that people are cleaning up and from time to time? Now it's a friendly question. Is it an ordinary occurrence that from time to time when you are going about your craft of inspecting meat, that it's necessary to have cleanup going on simultaneous to this, and you have to be careful not to get yourself involved in that?
Well, I go around in the morning before the plant starts up, and they may have to clean up a few things that I point out on my pre-op inspection.
That wasn't what I was asking you. Yeah, that's a bad answer.
Oh.
I'm trying to say is, could you be walking along and there's some guy cleaning, you had to kind of get out of his way, otherwise you're going to get wet?
Yeah.
Well, do you see, that would be your... Do you understand the difference in your answer?
Yes.
Keep it simple.
Okay.
I'm sitting here coaching people for depositions. Go ahead.
Well, anyway,
what else do they accuse you of,
he accused me of racketeering with he claimed the RICO laws and said that I and the company and the USDA conspired to do damage to him.
Under the RICO statute, boy.
Yes. And he says he hasn't been able to work since he was fired in June of last year.
Why?
Partly well, he's claiming irreparable damage and demands $400,000 in debt.
Compensatory, how much in punitive?
Punitive was $500,000.
Oh, what? This is chump change, right?
And
boy,
for the abuse and damages caused by the inspector, and the punitive, he doesn't mention the inspector. He just says for lost economic salary.
You see, I don't know. Let's be realistic now here for just a moment. I don't know if there's any merit in his charge about the company. He may have had a beef with the company, but neither of us know that, Alan.
Right.
So it's pretty hard to comment on that. But if everything you're telling me is true, what the hell would you do? Your job is to see that the public doesn't get meat that's bad.
Right.
Isn't that your job?
Yes.
And you came along and found meat that was bad.
Well, he contaminated the meat.
How did he do that?
He was washing out the barrels next to exposed containers of meat, which he wasn't supposed to be doing, and he had been warned about it a week before, and his supervisor, after I noted it to his supervisor told him about it. And
what do you mean, the soap was going in there or something, or dirty?
Yeah, he's cleaning these barrels, and the spray wash sprayed onto the meat and contaminated the meat.
Is that meat lost or can it be washed off?
It's ground meat. They have had to throw away the contaminated meat. They couldn't be washed.
Oh, it's
ground meat. And
the company did the company get upset about this?
They were upset with him. They weren't upset with me.
Mm-hmm. Just curious, how much meat was lost?
Not very much. Probably 50 pounds.
Oh, so we're talking about probably wholesale of $75, maybe, if that.
Probably that's about it. In fact, the whole thing seems blown out of proportion. But when I haven't actually received this consensual commercial lien. I haven't been served with it. The only one name who's actually received it is the food company itself. They contacted my supervisor.
Okay, what I would do if I were you, as soon as you are served, photocopy everything, give the originals or by mail, certified mail, or in person to your supervisor, ask for a receipt just to cover your butt with a letter from you, brief letter saying enclosed is, and I think the government should pick it up from there. Good luck, guy. Crazy people out there. I'm Bruce for Talknet. We go to the home of Mickey, Minnie, and the two Toms, Orlando, Florida. Hello there.
Yeah, Bruce, this is Derek. I'm a first-time caller and a long-time listener.
Well, Derek, I'm very happy to have you with us. What can we do for you?
Okay, on the side, I run a small business. Actually, it originally started more as a hobby, and I started getting more and more equipment as a DJ business, a mobile DJ service.
Yeah, you go out and do parties and that good
parties,
stuff?
Weddings, bar mitzvahs, anything that needs music.
Okay. There's a lot of one-liners, you know about that.
Oh, what's that?
There's an awful lot of one-liners for what you just said. Go ahead.
I'm sure. Anyways, I started collecting equipment and records years ago, and this has actually turned into a business now, which I want to claim my income on the taxes. But I'm also wondering how I can convert property that I bought as personal property, such as for use as a hobby, being the DJ equipment, and as business property now, and depreciate the...
Well, you have in a way forget about well, no, we won't even forget about the records and the CDs. How much you got tied up altogether?
Altogether, probably $6,000 to $8,000.
Well, the amount of depreciation is not going to mean a whole lot to you. It really isn't. I mean, there's no reason why you can't do it, and talk to your tax preparer about that. But the fact is that kind of money, I don't know what the useful life is, but I'll bet they're going to tell you 15 years.
No, you're probably looking at 3 to 5 years.
I think that the tax guy is going to argue like crazy. You know, but according to the tax people, an expensive car is $15,000.
Right.
We both know better.
Right.
But I don't think they're going to let you get away. Maybe so. I don't think they'll let you get away to depreciate that quickly.
Okay.
But even if they do, the tax impact is not going to be enough to get too excited about. But I don't know what the method is. You don't have to sell it to a corporation or anything of that nature. That's not necessary.
Right. So I'm just better off just to go on and not even worry about that.
Well, I didn't say that. First of all, do you itemize?
Well, I am now. I had in the past because I wasn't married. I didn't have a house. I didn't have anything to itemize.
But
however, in the last 2 years, I've gotten married. I have a house. I have interest.
All of a sudden, you're in the real world, aren't you?
I'm in the real world all of a sudden.
The grown-up world. Well, if I were you, I'd talk it over with a tax guy because, again, for a lot of people, it doesn't pay to itemize, even all the things you described.
Right.
Depending on the amount of income. Now, obviously, you're coming from replacement parts. Any expenses that are attendant to getting this thing going are deductible from the amount of money that you're being paid.
Right.
There's no question about that. And that doesn't, so that's a given.
Okay.
Whether you can, for example, I don't know the answer to this. Whether if you buy a record, for example,
okay,
I don't know if you can expense that or not, as contrasted with depreciating it. It could be argued that a record is good for 25 years. It also could be argued that some music 3 months from now nobody's going to pay to listen to. So even though the record's in great shape,
right?
Who cares?
Okay, maybe I should have rephrased the question. If I bought equipment or bought something last year,
No, I understand what you're.
This year.
No, I understand what you're saying. You've got, let's say, for the sake of discussion, some great speakers that you bought because you enjoyed great speakers, but now they have a business application.
Right.
I understand that.
Okay.
And I'm saying to you is talk to your tax guy about that.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your assistance, and it was great talking to you.
Go make lots of money, guy.
Thanks a lot, Bruce.
All righty. Savannah, Georgia. Hello. Hey, Savannah, are you there? Well, we'll try Brighton, Michigan to see what happens. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce.
Hi. It is I.
Oh, good. First-time caller. I didn't really want to say that, but I will anyway.
Well, now that you've said that, I will properly chastise you. Thank you very much. What's up?
Well, I wanted to also tell you I have my own Matthew Williams, because that's his middle name, though. We have something in common here.
Listen, shh, don't talk like that.
Oh.
Y'all will get me in trouble.
Yeah, well, he's a little bit younger than yours.
Mm-hmm. How old is your Matthew?
He will be 13 this year, going on to be a teenager and giving me more gray hairs. That's what I'm calling about. I have another teenager who's in the Navy. I have a son who's almost 19. Mm-hmm. He's stationed in San Diego, and he bought a car, much to my chagrin. He purchased it from a private owner, drove it 4 miles with them in the car, drove fine, gave him the money, drove 6 miles, and it's been towed and sitting ever since.
Guess what?
Yes.
He's on his own.
Oh, that's what I was afraid you were going to say.
It's
Nothing?
True. He's a kid. Well, you see, he didn't buy it from a dealer.
No, I know.
It's called a casual sale.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an as-is, unless there was a guarantee, which would be very extraordinary.
No.
It was an as-is, where-is deal.
Okay.
My Matthew, was on the other end of a deal like that many years ago. He sold a car. Actually, it was a camper.
Mm-hmm.
And the day he sold that, he said, nobody drives it till a man picks it up. He said, with my luck, one of you guys will smack it up. Matter of fact, I had just purchased a brand new Cadillac, which he bogarted. Took the Cadillac for.
Yeah.
I guess he said, I'm not going to. He said, look, that it was a custom camper, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he found a buyer at his price. The buyer drove it in his driveway, and Matt would not allow anybody to drive it till the guy came to pick it up, which was very fortuitous because the guy never made the interstate when the engine blew.
Yeah, that's what my son had.
And Matt had no idea there was any problem. Well, with Volkswagen engines, though they would throw a valve stem without any warning. Mm-hmm. And the engine was completely... And the guy said, well, it's my problem because the car ran beautifully the last time, and it did run beautifully. And he looked at the odometer and he could see it was exactly the same as when he drove it in the driveway.
Mm-hmm.
I think your son is stuck on this one.
Okay, so there's nothing.
Well, if you could prove that this guy does, he really sells a lot of cars, but not to have a license and that. But it went to some couple and they had a replacement car or something like that.
Yep. Okay. Well, it's a lesson to learn, but
that happens.
Yeah.
There's no way to protect yourself from that completely.
No.
None
well,
that I know of.
I had suggested, and of course, when he calls me crying, he said, "Mom, you were right." I had suggested, before you buy a car, have it checked out. But of course, the car of his dreams is sitting there, and he thinks, if I don't buy it, when I come back, it'll be gone.
This is from a private party.
Yeah.
How much did he spend for the car?
$1,400, which I have a co-sign loan.
You signed it?
Yeah, I co-signed the loan.
What was the car of his dreams at $1,400?
What was it?
What kind of car was his dream at 1400?
Oh, it doesn't. He doesn't dream big. It's a '86 Dodge something or other. Starts with a C. I don't.
Gotta watch those something or others.
I know.
And what blew the engine?
Yeah.
Let go completely. I mean.
They think it's a cracked. It's either a head gasket or cracked head. As he's looking at anywhere between $500 and $1,000, and he just bought it. I mean, he drove it 6 miles.
And it ran fine.
It ran fine. He drove it 4 miles with them in the car, and it ran fine. He got it. He gained the money. He got it out there about 6 miles, and it's been towed ever since, and sitting at a garage. And I'm like,
it's that a cracked head. This doesn't usually happen quite that quickly.
Yeah. Well, the mechanic said it looked like whoever had worked on it, because they did. I called the owners, and they did tell me that they put like $2,000 in September, and he's. It looks like a freeze plug was left off when whoever did the work for them.
Oh, so the car was running without any coolant.
Right.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Well, there might be some action. But you see that the owner, the guy who did the work. I'm sorry, the guy for whom the work was done is no longer in the picture.
Right. Well, see, he did the work. We found out too.
Himself.
Yeah. So I guess
casual sale is still a casual sale. Now, because he was careless in this respect, your son has nothing to lose by starting a small claims action, although I'm not certain it's justified.
Yeah.
You get casual, an as-is deal is an as-is deal.
Yeah, he's just devastated.
Of course. He's only a kid, and he's not making a hell of a lot of money, and he's got a big bill. I don't know if there's much about it that you can do about it.
No. Well, I was hoping for something different, but...
Well, I mean, I could be dead wrong, and if somebody wants to correct me, how about you listen? You can just turn the radio on and listen.
I can't listen because we don't get you up where we're living anymore.
Where are you living?
Brighton, Michigan. I used to listen to you all the time in Adrian, but they don't get you up here.
What city are you near?
Ann Arbor.
We certainly get calls from Ann Arbor regularly.
Well, that's because they're picking you up out of Adrian. But I've looked everywhere.
Well, I wish I could help you there.
That's okay.
How far are you from? Come on, help me. Wood Radio. What? Have you tried WAAM at 1600 in Ann Arbor?
I'll try that. 1600 Ann Arbor.
Danny just tells me we got a station there.
Okay. Well, good. I mean, if you do, because my husband's going to be really jealous when I tell him I talk to you.
So,
because you're like his idol,
I do. I'm sorry. Continue.
I said, well, he's like you're his idol. I never used to listen to you. I used to whine when he put you on. I'm like, I don't want to listen to him. And then all of a sudden, I think I just aged, and now I'm listening.
Son of a gun.
I know.
It happens to the worst of us.
It happens.
I do wish you well, sweetheart.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Take good care. If somebody wants to correct me in that, or if there is an avenue that she could explore, 703-413-8381. 703-413-8381. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Clubs and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any reason why you couldn't buy, say, a 1990, 91 used car? It'll get you where you want to go in very nice fashion.
That's true.
I can't remember. I'm just trying to think. When one of my kids has purchased a brand new automobile, my daughter, who is just a little older than you are, she bought, rather than buying a new car at the price range you're talking about, slightly less than that, she brought I think a 2-year-old luxury car. And I'll tell you something, I'd much rather drive that Lincoln of hers than I would have, I'm serious.
Yeah.
It's a gorgeous automobile. And for a couple $1,000s less, then you're going to pay for that new car.
I mean, if I was going to get a used car, do you think it's a better idea to trade in my car or sell it?
Well, if you're able to sell it, you probably get a couple of bucks more. But the dealer who accepts your car is earning his money. He probably would wholesale a car with 100,000 miles on it. and which means he's not going to be able to give you as much as you might be able to get. Or put it another way, is there anything to prevent you from putting the ad in the paper?
No.
If you sell it, fine. If you don't, then you can always try to trade it. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, somebody might come back and say, hey, stupid, meaning talking to me, what happens if she sells the car? What does she drive for that week between the time she gets her other car? And the answer is you go out and rent a subcompact for $100 or $125. That's the answer to that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
For a stopgap, a little Band-Aid in there, that's not a problem.
Okay.
But I think you might want to just, look, you're a young girl. You got lots of time for new cars. I think new cars are great, and I encourage people to buy them that can afford them. I think you're right on the cusp. I'd much rather see you get your let's say $2,500 out of your car. If your dad will give you another $3,000, go out and buy yourself a car with a cost $8,000 or $9,000. Now your payments are going to be something you can handle without choking.
Okay.
No matter how much fun a luxury is, choking on it takes an awful lot of the pleasure out of it, doesn't it?
That's true.
I do wish you well, sweetheart.
Thank you.
Thanks for your call. I'm Bruce Williams. Stick around for more. I'm so pleased you're here. Our telephone number, should you wish to get on board, 800-743-8000. Gooding, Idaho. Hello there.
Good evening, Bruce.
Good evening.
Enjoy your show.
Thank you.
I have a question concerning easements over property. A section of property behind ours sold recently, and we've learned that their intention is to place a home on it. And the land is just bare, dry grazing land. And the question I have is, to gain access to that property, the most practical way to do it would be from through our property, and there is a 25-foot easement along one border.
Of record. An easement of record.
That's correct.
Well, they have every right to use that, I guess.
Exactly. My question is that the property line along which that easement runs has brush and trees along it, and there is a previous passage that skirts that and is outside the easement. Now, are they restricted just to that easement, or because of that existing passage?
Who owns the other property?
I do. It is owned by my wife and I.
Well, they have only the right to use the easement.
Right. So whatever work that would be required to clear the 25-foot passage is their problem.
That's their problem.
And it is fully within our right to use the land up to that easement.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
But now, do you want them to clear that?
Well, I intend to plant grass in that area, which is up to the easement. And
well, so you mentioned there's a path or something. I'm trying to get to.
Yes.
From your perspective, would it be better for them to use the path or clear the easement off?
Probably to clear the easement.
And that's the way it's going to be.
Okay, and there's no standing as far as for the existing passage that they have any right to use it.
Well, I don't know that. That's a separate issue altogether.
Right.
Then there may or may not be a claim that could be sustained for adverse possession, that you've allowed people to go in and out of this for the last 35 or 40 years, or you or the people that owned the property beforehand. That's a possibility.
Right. That wouldn't be, in this case, it wouldn't, because it was cleared previous to our ownership, but within a year.
The road you're talking about, the path.
The path that does exist.
It's only been there for a year or so.
That's correct, and it's just a bare path.
Well, not regard to that. No, that isn't the issue.
Right.
It's only been there for a year or so.
Right. That's correct.
And nobody's acquired any interest in that in that short period of time.
Okay.
Well, you can go talk to them, and you probably will want to do that.
Certainly. I wouldn't want to be a poor neighbor, but we would like the full use of that ground up to the up to that easement.
Yeah. How much property do you have?
It's 8 acres.
You might want to try to sell them that property.
We prefer the buffer between us and their
Well,
home.
wait a minute. Maybe I'm missing something. You told me that the easement ran the parallel with the property line.
It does.
Well, then where's the buffer? Maybe I missed something.
Well, see, they're a buffer between our house and their upcoming building on that property.
Well, what would that buffer consist of?
It would consist of approximately 450 feet between.
Yeah, but I'm talking, maybe I'm missing something. There's an easement going across your property.
That's correct.
Parallel with the border of your property.
That's correct.
All I'm saying is maybe you'd be better off to try to sell them that property.
Oh, I see. Sell just the easement.
Just the easement, yeah.
I understand. I misunderstood you.
I don't know if there's any value in them. I would prefer, if I owned the property, to own that right away, as opposed to having an easement, which conceivably, possibly, maybe could get challenged someplace.
I see.
And from your point of view, then we don't have to worry about anything, because if anything happens on that easement, you are still responsible.
That brings up another question.
Liability problem.
Liability.
That's right.
Let's say, it's only 500 feet long or so, very minor chance of a traffic accident or something like that.
I wouldn't say that at all. Sure, it can happen.
We would be liable.
You're in the loop. I can't tell you whether you'd be liable or not.
Right.
But you would clearly be in the loop.
Certainly.
I'd prefer it if it were sold to them.
I see. And that may be a possibility.
Well, you can talk to them and see what they have to say.
Sure.
I do wish you well, Guy.
I appreciate it.
Take good care. What would probably happen here, the entire property belonged to one party at one time, and that's the reason the easement was granted before they sold off the front. All righty, to Grand Island, Nebraska. Hello there.
Yeah, hi, Bruce. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
That's good. I just had a couple of quick questions for you.
Yeah.
One concerned a will. I used to live in Michigan, and my wife and I moved to Nebraska, and I was wondering, do we need to redo a will in the state of Nebraska, even though we have one on file in Michigan?
You don't have to. It may be wise.
For what reason?
Well, because the laws vary from state to state.
Okay.
And as to what you can and cannot do and how you can do it. As an example, in one state that my primary residence now is Florida. Unless it is a relative, you can't name a non-resident to be your personal representative. I believe that's the case. In other words, I live in Florida, I could name my son who lives in Texas to be my personal rep.
Okay.
But I couldn't name my best friend, we'll say, who lives in pick a state, Colorado.
Okay.
Couldn't do that.
Has to be a relative.
Pardon me? In this particular instance, I'm not saying that's true where you are.
Okay.
What I'm trying to get to is there are different laws in different states. Now, they are most of your assets in Idaho now, or Nebraska?
Yes.
I think you'd be wise to consider having. What are you talking about? $1.50?
Yeah, well, I don't know.
About $150 for a reciprocal will. I'm not telling you the one you have is not valid.
Okay.
But it might be treated differently.
Okay, then if we would get a will here, would we need to somehow void that one out, or?
No.
No.
Interestingly, you can write a new will every day.
Okay, and the most recent one is precedent then.
Well, if it's so states, yes.
Right.
Because how does a will, all the tradition, you've seen all the 1930 movies on AMC, right?
Yeah.
What do they say? My last will of be in sound mind and body and whatever. I look at my body and say, how sound can that be? But my last will and testament, and something about supplanting all others or whatever. And the others all go away.
Okay.
And a will, by the way, doesn't mean anything until you die. It's a totally meaningless document until somebody dies.
Okay. The other question I had was, my first wife had died, and somebody would tell me that my second wife should adopt my children. Is that?
Well, she may. I mean, it'd be certainly a nice gesture.
Okay, but I mean, is it necessary?
Or? No, certainly not.
Okay.
Why would that be a factor?
Someone said for inheritance and things like that it'd be.
Well, it would put them automatically in line. For her, they have no relationship that I know of, legal relationship to her.
Okay.
She's their stepmother right now.
Right.
But if the wills are appropriately drawn without regard to relationships, you can leave money to anyone you choose. The only, not the only, but one area that I'm sure that you know of is that you can't disinherit a spouse.
Okay.
You can't cut your wife out of your will even if you want to.
Right.
She's entitled to, they used to call it dower in whatever ways, but she's entitled to a PC, probably a third.
But as my wife now, would she still be their legal guardian? Even though she has...
Not unless she's named in a will.
Okay.
If you die...
In the will, it states that if I die, she's their legal guardian.
Then that ordinarily the court...
But I mean, as far as right now, we would never have any problem with...
You said that. I didn't say that.
Oh, okay.
I mean, seriously. You named your current wife as the guardian of your children in the event that you pass away.
Right.
And in most cases, the courts would support your choice.
Right.
But that doesn't mean they have to.
Okay.
Somebody else could pop up and say, well, this woman, uses crack cocaine and has some bad habits, and I'm serious.
Okay.
You're laughing. I'm dead serious. Particularly, suppose that you pass away with a lot of insurance, a lot of money.
Okay.
But the kids are very wealthy kids. A relative of their natural mother could pop up.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
And challenge it. Now, I'm not going to tell you that's likely because you know your family to begin with, and it's less likely that the court would support it. But suppose they made all these allegations about your current wife, and maybe some of them were even true. I'm not suggesting that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand.
That could be a problem. If she was the legal guardian, if she adopted the children, man, it would take well, you know how that goes.
Okay.
Deprive the children away from them. And as a practical matter, what is to be lost by it would certainly be an expression of love.
Okay, what type of process is involved with that? Just with the lawyer?
You have to call your attorney on that. And again, there's nobody who would have any standing to contest it. You see, if you were divorced,
well, then it'd be different.
That would be a different matter. The natural mother would have some rights and so on and so forth. But that's not the case here. How old are your children?
15 and 14.
Okay, well, they're going to be adults in 3 and 4 years, respectively.
Right.
And with all the rights and privileges thereof.
Right.
But don't you think it'd just be a nice gesture?
Yeah, it probably would.
I would think. Huh? Are your kids and your current wife close?
Oh yeah, real close.
Okay. I think that would be a nice gesture.
Okay. Well, great.
But if it were me, I would still get the will updated. Not updated, but
changed to this state.
Yeah. Again, I don't know that I'm not telling you it is necessary.
Right.
But you see, there's a major problem that a will has that most documents do not have, and that is, as I mentioned earlier, it means nothing till somebody dies.
Right.
And it's awfully difficult to crawl out of the grave and come back and fix a deficiency.
Okay.
I mean, maybe you could figure it out. If you do, would you share it with me, would you?
Okay.
I wish you well, guy.
All right, thank you.
Meridian, Idaho, welcome to my world.
Hi.
Hello there.
I need some advice.
Let's talk.
Okay. First, some information. I'm 23 years old, married, and I have 2 kids.
Yeah, you don't waste any time.
No. I make gross about $24,000 a year. Let's see, about 3 years back, we made some very unwise decisions, got heavily into consumer credit.
Mm-hmm.
Have been regretting it ever since, paying real high interest and everything else. Anyway.
How much do you owe?
Presently about $8,500. 2.5 years ago, we got on consumer credit counseling service.
Mm-hmm.
And they set us up with the program, set us up with the payment, talked to the creditors, said we should be able to pay it off in about 4 years.
Okay.
2.5 years later, our debt has decreased about $2,200.
You're paying mostly interest.
Basically.
Mm-hmm.
And so, at the current rate that we're paying, it's going to take 101 months to pay off this debt. And so I'm just wondering, I've heard people talk about Chapter 13.
How much, Chapter 13 is only keeps the creditors at bay. How much do you owe right now?
Probably about $8,500.
Well, and you're 23, you got a couple of kids.
Right.
After we turn around the corner, I'm going to give you some advice that you're not going to like at all. But on the other hand, you asked me to be candid, and I'm going to be that. So stick around, kid. I'm Bruce Williams. This is Talknet. Alrighty, I'm chatting with a young man in Meridian, Idaho. Married?
Yep.
23 years old. Couple of trolls, making $20,000 a year. Is your wife employed?
No.
How come?
Staying home with the kids.
Well, that's a luxury maybe you can't afford.
Okay.
What can she do?
She's done some secretarial work before.
That's it?
Other odd jobs, waitressing.
I'm trying to get into what she's capable of doing is what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah.
Because there's a couple of alternatives here. One, you work regular hours, I guess?
Yes.
And maybe she'd go out and work at night.
Okay.
You come home and take care of the kids.
Okay.
What do you do on Saturdays and Sundays?
I work every other Saturday at my present job. We have certain amount of overtime automatically scheduled in.
What do you do?
I'm a salesman at a lumber company.
Oh, inside sales.
Yes.
Well, inside, outside, but as opposed to on the road.
Right.
Well, you are going to have to make some extra money.
Okay.
And I really think that it's nice to have a stay-at-home wife.
Mm-hmm.
And a supermom, but I don't think your family can afford that.
Okay.
Now, you should be able to dig yourself out, never mind in 101 months. You should be able to dig yourself out in a year.
Okay.
If your wife went back to work and made $16,000, $17,000, $18,000 a year, that would take care of that.
Mm-hmm.
After you paid for the whatever child care was necessary and so on and so forth. Now, I'm not telling you that's easy.
Right.
But why in the world would you want to hang out for 8-9 years?
Yeah,
if you concentrate your efforts.
Okay.
I mean, you did some stupid things, but let me tell you something. If they put everybody did stupid things in jail, boy, oh boy, would those jails be full. There'd be nobody to come and visit because everybody be on the inside.
That's true.
But you pay for your foolishness.
Right.
Well, why not pay it off quick? I'm talking about the foolishness.
Okay.
I really think you ought to sit down and talk with your bride. I don't think she's going to like that very much.
Okay.
But I don't know that there's an alternative.
Right.
Besides robbing banks, I don't recommend that.
No.
Okay, kid.
Okay.
Let me know how it comes down, would you?
Okay, thanks.
All right, guy.
Goodbye.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Hershey, not Hershey Bar, wise guy. Hershey, Pennsylvania. Hello there.
How you doing, Bruce?
Only place in the country that has candy kisses for streetlights.
You got it. Appreciate you taking my call.
You're very welcome. What's on your mind?
I got a problem, and I'll try to make it very short. My son assaulted a 21-year-old kid. My son is 21.
Yeah.
And he assaulted a 20-year-old. I say guy, he's not a kid.
Mm-hmm.
He did some really bad, physical damage, I say.
What happened?
Well, it was without any cause of justification. He just attacked him.
For no reason at all?
For no reason at all.
Did he bump into him, or?
No, it turned out to be the wrong kid that he really assaulted. And to make a long story short, he got arrested and charged with assault and battery.
Mm-hmm.
And the kid was transported to the emergency room and suffered some real serious injuries. Broken jaw, broken nose. He's having a problem with his neck now, and medical bill so far is up to $8,000.
Mm.
And today I got served. My son got served with a civil complaint from the guy's attorney, asking him. Actually, the suit is in excess of $25,000. And his attorneys also wrote me a letter requesting me to turn in my homeowner's insurance information over to him.
Does your son live with him? Live with you?
Yes.
Okay.
He's in the process. He's trying to save money to get married in that.
But he's living, that isn't the issue. He's living with you.
Yes, he's living with me.
Oh, you can give him the homeowner's information.
How good is that going to do him?
Well, that isn't the issue. There's no reason not to give it to him.
Mm-hmm.
He can get it anyway through discovery. Why make it hard for him?
Now, am I liable at all?
I don't think so. But as a resident of your household, your son may be covered by the liability insurance. That's what the attorney is looking at.
Yes.
And I'd give him the information for me. What do you lose?
Sure. Now, do I have to get my son an attorney on a civil matter, or that would be?
You've got to be kidding me. Of course. Now, the insurance company will defend him if in fact he is covered as a resident of your house, and I think he probably is. How about the criminal matter?
Well, the criminal matter, we're still going to be going through that next month. He's he has no record, previous record.
Chances are he won't do any time for this.
He pleaded guilty, and we're trying to play bargain right now.
Yeah, he'll probably get probation.
That's what I think.
Why was he out looking for somebody else?
Well, he was, I don't know, the way the whole thing happened is something real stupid, and
what? Tell me about it.
Well, I think the other kid was hitting on his girlfriend, on my son's girlfriend, and he just, he didn't like that at all, and his girlfriend told my son actually just to talk to him, and I think he just got the wrong kid, and he just asked him to step outside, and the kid didn't. He refused to, and he told the cops that he just lost it, completely lost it.
Over a girl. Boy, that's stupid. That is really stupid. So the guy was hitting on his girlfriend. So
well,
what?
that's what his girlfriend claims. You know,
So what? Suppose he was. So what? What difference does it make? All she says is no. Well, that's another story. Kids are so stupid in that regard.
I agree.
Big time stupid. So somebody hits on somebody's girl, or the girl hits on a guy. So what?
I tried when we had the arraignment and preliminary hearing. I tried to. I had the attorney on the criminal side tried to convince the kid to that I'll pay all his medical bills and
drop the charges.
And we plead for like disorderly conduct, so nothing would really go on his record.
Right.
The kid wouldn't even talk. He wouldn't even consider it.
I don't blame him. Would you, if you were the other guy?
No.
You're minding your own business, somebody beats the hell out of you, would you be understanding? I don't think I would be. I understand that your kid lost it, and it's unfortunate that you're going to have to suffer the consequences of that for a long time. Hey, if the kid had died, he'd be suffering the rest of his life.
I mean, it was a really serious injury. They had to wire the kid's mouth shut for 6 weeks.
Oh, boy.
Now he has to get a surgery on his nose.
Well, can you understand why he's not too forgiving?
I mean, I really feel bad for him.
I'm sure you do. And I feel badly for you as a parent because you didn't do anything to deserve this grief.
Sure. But I'm kind of surprised, really, his attorney, the way he's going after this. And no, can he also goes after my son's assets and that?
Of course. Absolutely.
Wow.
I do wish you well, guy.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, kid. I'm Bruce Williams. Yeah, parents have got to suffer this. The kid deserves whatever he gets. But that just because somebody was hitting on your girlfriend or your wife or your husband, so what? All you do is ignore it. This is Talknet. Syracuse, New York, it's your turn in my world. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce. How are you?
I couldn't be better.
Good. I got a quick question for you.
Let us try.
I have a chance of transferring from Syracuse, New York, down to the Deerfield Beach area.
Deerfield Beach, Florida?
Yes.
Oh,
and
what a tough choice that'd be.
I know. Well, the only problem is I hear that there's a lot of crime down in that area.
I don't know that. Well, Deerfield Beach is where?
It's right by Boca Raton,
the East Coast,
Fort Lauderdale area.
Yeah, okay. Well, there's crime everywhere.
Well, yeah, but I've heard it's quite heavy down there, and I just didn't know.
I don't think it's any heavier there. Columbus, Ohio. Welcome to my world.
Hi, Mr. Williams. I enjoy your show.
Well, thank you.
We have two choices. We can either move to an apartment or buy a condo, and this is only for 2 years or longer.
Well, you said only for 2 years or longer. That's kind of a contradiction, isn't it?
Well, to us, 2 years, it doesn't seem that long.
Well, no, but the way you put it, maybe if you said 2 years or less, that would narrow it. 2 years or longer could be 20 years.
Okay, well, I'm talking 2 or 3 years then. I should have stated it differently.
Why is that? Why do we have this limitation?
Well, we are retiring. We've sold our home. We do not know where we want to be at this point, where we want to retire. So
in that case, rent.
Okay.
Don't even consider buying.
Okay.
How old are you guys?
My husband is 65.
Okay, that's enough. Then you're old, but if you're selling a house, is that correct?
We have sold it.
All right, then you're taking the $125,000 one shot?
Yes.
Then that's over. Then I would, until you know where you want to be, you'd be much better off to rent.
Okay. Well, then I don't have to tell you all these other things.
Well, you see, the reason I say that is that it takes 2 or 3 years at the very least to recover the costs involved in buying.
Okay.
Furthermore, as a practical proposition, if you decide, for whatever reason, you want to go to Arizona or Florida or who knows where, a year at your age is a substantial period of time equated against the number of years you have remaining in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why would you want to blow 6 months or a year having to fiddle around trying to sell a house or a condo or whatever? Mm-hmm. When you rent, you can pick up and go.
Well, we were just thinking we'd probably be paying $1,000 a month rent.
So what?
Well, if we invested it into a condo, we'd get more out of it.
Maybe yes, maybe no. Maybe you lose.
Okay.
Have you not seen condominiums? Like you want to buy one that I bought for I could sell one now a little less than 50% of what I paid for it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So don't ever believe that real estate goes in one direction.
Okay.
It did very much of your lifetime, I'll grant you that.
True.
And you walked out of your house with a big profit, right?
Yes.
That's not going to happen again to your children.
I know.
Well, it's all right. That's probably good.
Well, it's just that we haven't rented in all of our life, and it's like we're just giving them the money.
No, you're not. Hold the phone. You're giving them the money. Is that right?
Well, I don't know. It's
when you go to do you have a CD in your life?
Mm-hmm.
You do. Do they pay you interest?
Well, I'll be honest. My husband handles all.
Oh, come on now. You know they're giving you interest.
Yeah, well, yes, of course I know that, but I couldn't.
Well, you didn't. I didn't ask you how much, but they're giving you interest.
Yes.
Well, you're renting them the money. Why don't you give it to them for nothing?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you?
Well, I see your point.
Okay, when somebody has a piece of property, they give you a value. You have shelter.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what makes you believe that owning is cheaper? Frequently, it is not.
Well, because we've always made money on our homes when we
Yes,
sell them.
dear, but that was in the past.
Okay.
You were lucky. Your generation was very, very fortunate.
Mm-hmm.
Real estate, from the time your husband probably finished World War II, or right after that, he's probably a little young for World War II, but just about nailed it, right?
Mm-hmm.
From that time on, real estate has been going up for the most part until the middle 80s, till Congress screwed around with that Tax Reform Act.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, you thought that was a natural condition, but it wasn't. It was an artificial condition.
I thought maybe we could still do it for another year or two.
No, you may, but then you may lose. How are you going to feel? You buy something for 100 and you have to sell it for 75. That's not going to make you real happy.
That's true. We don't know what's going to happen.
But if you buy it for 100 and sell it for 125, you'll have to give the government a third of it.
Mm-hmm.
A little less than a third.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think you'd be better off to rent for a while.
Okay. Well, you have really helped me.
Okay, kid.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And think about this, too. Let somebody else have the responsibility. There's something to be said for that. There's a younger generation which even thinks more, hey, I got to buy because property always goes up. It does not, and there are millions that are listening right now that can testify to that. Chantilly, Virginia. Chantilly Lace. Hello, Chantilly.
Hello, yes.
Yes.
Okay, question for you here. I have a son, and I designed a holiday sweatshirt for him.
A holiday? Oh, you mean for the Christmas holidays or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
how old is your son?
4 years old.
Okay.
And he wore it to school, and some of the moms saw it, and they said it was really nice, and where did I get it? And I said, I made it myself. And they said, oh, boy, they'd like to buy one like that.
Okay.
So then I checked with a couple local independent shops, and I showed them the shirt, and they said, yes, they would buy them for next holiday season. They didn't say how much they'd buy them for or how many, but it seems like it might be something I could do. But my question is, if I give them the shirts or if I start making them and someone else sees them that can do the same shirt, is there a way to copyright the design?
Yes, ma'am. You can copyright a design, but what did you put on the shirt?
Well, it's not what I put on it. It's.
Tell me about it. Your kid already. No, listen to me. Your kid already wore it, so people see what it looks like.
Well, I know, but somebody else could do it.
Yes, ma'am. That's the whole. That's what I'm trying to get you. Tell me. If you don't want to tell me, don't tell me.
Well, I'll tell you generally. I'll just use a different type of design, one that I could do. Anyone could do a Christmas tree, but just like anyone could make a painting and put it up on a wall. But the way I did it, the handmade paint, the glitter, a fireplace scene by it, and a little train going around.
You can copyright your scene.
Okay.
But I can make my scene almost identically, and then nothing you can do about it.
Okay, so it's not worth even trying to do.
I would think not.
Okay. Well, the second question is, how do you locate a manufacturer that would make sweatshirts or T-shirts with lights in them? Is that a real specialty?
Problem? Well, no. Of course, it's a specialty. Your problem is going to be quantity.
Okay.
You're not going to buy a dozen or two.
Well,
if you could buy,
12 dozen.
But that's no quantity. That's only a gross. That's no dozen. That's not quantity.
Okay, so they wouldn't do it for a small quantity.
I would doubt it very seriously.
Okay.
Or put it another way, even if it could be done, it would be cost prohibitive. You see, which one of those, if you bought 144, which one is the most expensive?
What do you mean?
Just what I said. Which one would be the most expensive of the 144?
I'm lost.
Well, you see, if you bought a gross,
Right.
special ordered, right?
Right.
The first one is the one that costs the money.
Okay, I see what
The
you
rest of them are cheap. But that first one can cost a ton to design and put out.
Okay.
And that's why if you spread that across 100,000, well, the R&D doesn't amount to much. You try to spread it across a gross, and you got a serious problem.
If I designed the prototype, would that reduce the cost?
No, it's not the prototype. It's the idea of getting the mechanic. You see, it's one thing for you to sew in the little lights or something. That's not hard to do.
Right.
But it's another to do that on a mass basis where you get the cost down to a place where somebody can afford it.
Okay, I see.
That's where the problem lies. And I think you got another problem you may as well face, that you're going to have a tough time with this, because you're going to have to go out and buy the plain old sweatshirt. That's easy enough to do, wholesale. But then you're doing everything by hand. And you're doing by hand in the United States of America, where hand labor is almost prohibitive by its nature. When you're going to work on this shirt, and I could get somebody in the Far East to work all day for what you'll want for half an hour. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what becomes troublesome. I mean, for a hobby, that's fine. But it's very unlikely that you can compete making handmade stuff in this country.
Well, I was thinking just for a season.
Fine, go for it. The thing is, you can do it all year between now and the next Christmas season. And you do it when you're watching your own Rugrat or whatever. I mean, I don't know how much attention it takes, whether you can do something else at the same time. Some things you can, some you can't. And since I take it you're a stay-at-home mom.
Yes.
And you'd like to be. You want to continue to be.
Yeah, but then I thought this would be good to do.
Well, it doesn't. I mean, so your hourly rate is of no super concern to you.
Yeah.
Is that true?
That's true.
And if you hire, well, you can't hire anybody. But if you did, then you got to talk about minimum wage and all that kind of good stuff. But that's the only way if it's throwaway time, then whatever you make is fine. But if you said, look, I got to go out and make whatever the number is, $100 a day, it is not going to happen, in my opinion.
No, I was thinking just, some extra cash.
Yeah, but you understand what I'm trying to get to?
Yes, I do.
You're going to have to pay top prices because you're going to buy small quantities of sweatshirts. And I don't know if you've been buying them for your child, so you know the prices. I was shocked. Yeah. I went to a football game a couple of years ago, and they wanted $60 for a sweatshirt at a football game. I thought I was going to go into cardiac arrest.
Well, yeah, but those are more expensive too, because then they have the team name on it.
Well, that's pretty inexpensive to do that.
All profit.
Pardon?
All profit.
It's not all profit.
You don't think so?
Anytime somebody says all profit, they have labeled themselves as someone who knows nothing of business. I mean that in all seriousness. We buy a lot of sweatshirts, T-shirts, rugby shirts, because we're in the bar business. And one of the things we do is we sell shirts with our name on it, plus all of our wait staff, all of our door hosts, everybody wears a monogram shirt. I know we pay for that stuff. And we do buy good quality. In fact, I was in one of the clubs Tuesday, and I kind of kidnapped a couple of rugby shirts. I had never had one of those before. I think I'm entitled. I'm one of the owners. But they are not inexpensive, and it is nowhere near, quote, all profit. Unfortunately, there's not enough profit, but that's another program. Good luck with your project, dear. I'm Bruce Wiggins. This is Talknet. Let's go to Erie, Pennsylvania, and visit a little bit. Hello there.
Hi, Bruce.
Hi.
Hey, I've got a situation here that 3 years ago, I found myself in the circumstance where I had no alternative but to file Chapter 13 bankruptcy.
This reorganizational bankruptcy.
That's correct.
Okay.
Now I'm 3 years into the payment, and repayment terms were 5 years. And a family member has offered to lend me the money to pay this off with the thought that the sooner I pay it off, the sooner it's off the records, and, the sooner I get everything back together for myself.
This is true.
And what I didn't know is if there are any kinds of penalties or liabilities that I could incur by paying that off early.
None that I'm aware. You have an obligation to your family member.
Well, I realize that.
Well, I can't think of anything else.
Okay, so, I talked to my trustee and got the total amount that I still owe. And as far as you're concerned, then, once they're paid off, my only obligation then is the family, and there are no penalties?
Well, what penalty would there be?
Well, I don't know. That's why I called out.
I don't know of any. I mean, I just, the advantage is clear that you're going to get off the hook. The interest hook, I would assume, a little lighter with your family member.
Right.
Yeah, I don't see any. Can they afford to loan you the money?
Yes.
How much money is involved?
Right now, repayment is at $7,000.
That's what you owe still.
Right. The total amount of the bankruptcy was $16,800.
Well, listen, you're to be congratulated. A lot of people have gone Chapter 7 and written it off. You paid it off like a man.
Well, that's the way I felt. It was an obligation that I felt obliged to uphold.
Well, you did a good job. No, I'd borrow the money if I were you.
Okay.
I do wish you well.
Okay, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Good luck. Venice, Florida, your turn.
Hi, Bruce.
Hello.
This is a follow-up to a call I made to you last spring about a digital piano that I had trouble with from, maybe 6 months after I bought it. It never functioned right for more than a period of 6 months. And I had it repaired, and the company even had new contact strips put in it for me. And anyway, you and I talked about what I might be able to do, and we decided probably the only thing was to go to small claims court. Soon after talking to you, I was meeting one day with my certified financial planner, who is also an attorney, although no longer practicing before the bar. I said, I'm thinking about going to small claims court. Let me just run this by you and see if you think I have a chance of winning. After he listened to my story, he said, let me write the company a letter. So he did. He received a letter back from the top manager of the company, and I called the service manager. And the bottom line is, to show their good faith, I sent back this piano in the fall, and they completely rebuilt it, and now I have it, and it works very nicely.
Terrific. Well,
so I just thought you might like to know that.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, often, there are I think that's fair. Most business people want to keep customers happy.
Certainly.
Now, some of them are very short-sighted, and that's unfortunate. But the majority are well-intentioned, and when you don't come on screaming and carrying on, they're going to do their best to keep your goodwill.
Exactly.
Apparently, that was the case here.
I also want to tell you that every time I've talked to you, I've had a couple of phone calls from as far away as Maine from people who've heard me.
Is that right?
So I'm going to hang up now and listen for my phone to ring.
All righty.
Okay.
Give the gal a call. Don't disappoint her.
Thank you.
Hi, Bruce Williams. Hang in for more. I'm glad you're here. This is Talknet. Hello there, Clearwater. Welcome to my world.
How you doing tonight, Bruce?
I'm doing real well, thank you.
Good. I wanted to ask you a question about, rented a truck in September of '93, a moving truck, and had an accident with it as far as I turned a sharp corner at a storage unit, and part of the eave hanging off a storage unit went through the side of the truck. And anyhow, I did all the paperwork they wanted at that point, and they sent me a letter saying that their investigation might take 30 to 45 days.
What's to investigate?
Well, I didn't know either. But
There's no question you did it.
Right, and I have not heard anything from them since then.
Was the truck itself damaged? I'm sorry if I misunderstood, or was it just the building, or both?
Both. Okay. I had purchased the extra insurance on the vehicle.
In that case, you should be home free, because the liability insurance would cover the building.
Okay.
And if you covered the other insurance would cover the truck.
Right. That's what I had thought, and there was one provision in there saying anything due to clearance.
When they refer to clearance, they're generally that would refer to a bridge or a building or something that you go under.
they explained that to me as far as the front or the top of the vehicle.
That would not, I don't believe, because you cut a corner short, I don't believe that could be.
Okay, because I've now, this is the first time since the accident I've gotten anything, and it's from a bill collector.
From whom?
A bill collector.
Collecting for who?
For the major truck rental company. And, you know, wanting the payment of $1,200.
Well, I would write back to them and say, this is the reason I carry the physical damage insurance, and clearance clearly refers not to cutting a corner. I wouldn't even get involved in that. Clearance refers to overhead clearance.
Okay.
Where the average person might not be aware. Because in a car, you didn't think about that. Zoom under the bridge.
Exactly.
In a truck, you got to... Speaking from some bitter experiences, you've got to be careful. But the idea that you cut a corner short, I don't believe that's a clearance problem.
Okay, I didn't think so either. But I was just wondering, when I got this bill collector, and I did write him a letter back stating all my reasons why I did not think I'd be liable for it. But I'm just wondering if there's anything further I need to do, or what happens when they write me back. And
ball's in their court. They've got to sue you.
Okay.
And I don't think I just don't believe unless that policy specifically talks about short corners and whatever.
No, it does not. All it says is clearance.
But I think that a decent or a reasonable definition of clearance would be talking about the overhead.
Okay, then why would they go to the bill collector?
They try to because the chances are 99 to 1 that insurance that they sell you is not insurance. It's a self. It's really not insurance, matter of fact.
Okay. And it's just a money maker for them.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all.
But the fact is, if they can not pay themselves a claim, it's money in their pocket.
Okay. Well, so I shouldn't have anything to worry about.
Well, I didn't say that. But I most certainly